Come on, come on, come on, come on. You rockin' smoke, you rockin' smoke, you rockin', wood. You rockin' smoke, you rockin' smoke. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You rockin' smoke, you rockin' smoke, you rockin', wood. You got smoke? Give me that beat. Hey, well, put me in the game, Batman, Robin, Wendy. I got bread like spaghetti, bitch. Yeah. Hey, well, put me in the game, Batman, Robin, Wendy. Hey, Smoke, make them talk on go-go combo, Smoke. Put it in the pocket.
Now we're gonna make them talk right here on the GoWIN Radio Show. How about that, Smoke? You tuned into the GoWIN Radio Show right here on GoGo Radio Live, WinDC Radio, all wrapped up in GoWin.media. And matter of fact, let me open up this phone line right now, because we are talking about right now. It's abbreviated version of the show today. Ah, gosh, got me logged in as this. Good gracious. There we go. We are talking about the documentary that was shown last night at the Lincoln Theater by 202 Creates, which is an initiative from Mayor Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C., that she...
What? She wasn't in, was she?
No, she was not. But the executive director and her... I don't want to misquote her title, but it's basically Muriel Bowser's right hand.
Right hand, okay.
Okay. Angie Gates. She wants to be called Angie Gates.
Yeah.
She's not only what she did there, but she's actually the executive, the premier executive director of the documentary.
Right.
So,
I did see her. Yeah.
yes. Well, she came out and had a whole little spill how she's originally from Louisiana and fell in love with go-go. What threw me a little bit was, and I don't want to be too critical about anybody that fell in love with the genre of music and the culture that we have, grew up in all of our lives. But when she said that when she came to D.C. and started doing the Happy Feet after the hurricane, Happy Feet been out for 20 years prior to that hurricane, so I didn't understand that. So, but that threw me for a little bit of a loop because
She didn't know.
Evidently.
Yeah, she didn't know.
But I mean,
to
connoisseurs of it like you and I,
right.
That will kind of stick with
that's
us.
That's like the kids. The kids doing the dance, and they be like, "Yeah, that's the stanky leg." Nah, man, that's the Wild Wild West. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know,
And so, but it's nice to see that that someone from outside the area embraces it. Miss Lady, I've talked to a lot of people from New Orleans that really embraces go-go.
Zydeco music, because they have Zydeco and we have go-go. Like, they have their own genre of music like we do. So it's kind of, it's reminiscent of, I think, to a Louisiana and some of them, if not a Creole or things of that nature. So they have that Caribbean, that calypso kind of Zydeco. So they have like the steel drum and the band and the live music thing already kind of instilled in them. So it's like it's reminiscent of each other. The genres are, even though you can tell the difference between Zydeco and go-go is nothing like either one of them other than what they are, but it's just having something of your own. I think people probably relate to that more than anything.
Well, let's do a little overview of what we saw yesterday. Okay, let's actually start with the attendance. It was a nice attendance. I thought the people from the go-go community showed out pretty well. I mean, as being within the community as you and I are, you look for familiar faces, people, you know, that work within it, whether it be musicians or whomever, sound man or whatever the case may be, DJs, as DJ Rico called out. DJ Rico, he hosted the event and DJ'd the event. The issue I had from the early moments of it is when I'm walking in and I hear Rico playing, the sound is like, yo, what's going on with the sound? Like, you could barely hear him playing.
Right.
And I had an issue with that. I don't know why that was the problem.
Right, right.
But first and foremost, the problem with go-go, I mean, not the problem, but one thing with go-go, you have to feel the music. If the music is not, you know, if it's in a way that, you know, you can't really feel the drums, then you can't really appreciate it the way it should be. So I had that initial problem with it. You know, because, you know, Rico was turning it up, you know, giving out information, you know, shouting out all the people that was there. You know, it was nice. You know, it was nice the way he presented and represented, and being the host that he was. He was a very gracious host. I thought Rico did a very good job.
Yeah, he did.
One thing that he did harp on, and obviously the presenters of the event, which is 202 Creates, it was supposed to be a black and white theme, and you notice that through everybody that was working the event had a 202 Creates black and white T-shirt, so you knew who they were. So obviously it was something that they wanted to get through our minds, as far as they wanted us to be familiar with. They want you to be familiar with 202 Creates. They was branding themselves that night. Because a lot of people, and you tell me, did you know of 202 Creates prior to the event?
I've heard.
Right.
To know.
But you became much more familiar with it after the event.
Well, not really.
Not really?
No,
Well, I think that's what their attempt was that.
Well, the people that were helping and working, yes, but the people that were speaking, no.
Okay.
They didn't have on the shirt, and those would be the major components.
You speaking of Miss Gates?
Mr. and.
Are you talking about Mr. Holdman?
Yeah.
Eugene Holt?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, Eugene Thorpe.
Yeah, Eugene
Thorpe. He was a director.
Yeah, and the other.
He was a director. He wrote the documentary.
Okay.
He directed it, and he also helped produce it.
Okay.
So he was the key figure.
And he didn't have one on.
No, he was casual.
That's the person that's supposed to have one.
I hear you on that. I think everyone that was wearing the shirts were kind of like,
so it's kind of like
the worker bees.
The worker bees. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and they was running around, and they was very visible.
Should have put the bartenders. Had made the bartenders.
Well, the bartenders. That's the theater.
Yeah, but I'm hiring you for tonight, so.
Yeah, but actually,
this is your uniform.
Actually, you're not.
Yeah.
Not in the now. The Lincoln is a union. So yeah, you don't hire out the union. The union works for who they work for.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you're having an event and you're usually your uniform is bow tie and
right.
If it's what I'm saying, you can say, hey, can you put on the bow tie tonight?
And which I find interesting within itself because I noticed and let's go here with it. When there's been a major event concerning the DC community, the city gets certain venues, and they're able to put their hands on certain venues. Last time I was there at the Lincoln Theater was Polo's funeral. Okay. For other than the play that we we was invited to by Lavelle Long and them.
Right.
And Lavelle Long and Vernon Williams.
Right.
And so but they did the same thing with Chuck's. They did a viewing at the Howard House's funeral.
Right.
Then they got the Constitution Hall for Little Benny and Chuck's funeral.
Right.
So the city could put their hands on certain venues when they want to.
Right.
And so obviously they have a big influence on what's happening. So I'm sure the city's not being charged with somebody else walking in as you and I would and say, I need the Lincoln.
Of course not.
You know, so
Or just put in a requisition.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need this date.
Yes.
It's available, isn't it?
Yes.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. Well, yes.
Yes.
Make a quick phone call and I'll call back to
Right.
confirm.
Yes. I'm sure it is. So with that, so moving forward, so I noticed that 202 Creates was, trying to really put their presence out there and stamp the event. And so knowing who's coming through the doors, obviously this is a mission of theirs, and to connect with the go-go community. So this made me think a little bit deeper about, because somebody made a very, very profound statement to me. You are not in politics if you're not making political moves. Or if you, no, I'm sorry. They said you're not in politics if you don't have a political agenda. That's what the statement was. And I don't know if they want me to put that out there or not as far as their name. But, and I thought about that because I had to think about obviously what the mayor is doing right now. She's been very aggressive within the go-go community lately. And it is political season. I did ask, was this a political agenda? And I got the obvious answer, of course not. But hey, she's going into her second term, possibly more than likely, because DC is a Democratic city and she's the only Democratic candidate for mayor coming up. So more than likely in November she would be voted in as mayor for the second term. So did she need to do this? No, she didn't. But she has, and so we have to look at it for what it is and be grateful for one, because this is something, this event, this documentary, we have to be grateful for the simple fact that we within the community should have done it years ago. And I get tired of us complaining about how people do things when we have the ability to do it ourselves. All the people that works within the go-go community, we have the photographers, we have all the inside knowledge to be able to put something like this together ourselves. But we have it in over 40 years. So when somebody comes in and do it, and actually the city, I felt like the city should have been reached out to the go-go community. So thus, me personally and everybody says, oh, you always got the conspiracy theory thinking. Possibly so. But I was just curious, why now? And that's just my thought. And then, yes, I am grateful. So it does sound kind of like a but statement. And when people say buts, did you really mean your initial statement, right? But I am grateful that they did it. But I'm also, because I understand how politics work, why should I not ask that question?
Exactly.
They have led me for no other reason to think otherwise, because in the past you haven't cared. So if you care now, great. But why now? Can I at least ask that question? I feel like it's fair.
Yeah. Who you gonna get an answer from?
The only people who would answer that would be Miss Gates and Miss Bowser herself. They're the only ones who can answer that question. Right. And as a politician, what do you think I would expect the answer to be? A political answer, right? Nothing else but. Yeah. So why even waste my breath? So I could think, and that's just anybody. You could think what you want to think. I am grateful for it. So let's go down the line a little bit, and let's talk about what happened in it. Let's talk about how it all kicked off. What are your views as far as how it started out? How it initially started out is talking about the Chuck Brown family, and no, I don't think it actually started like that. How did it start? Remind me. I didn't take complete notes. I took a lot of mental notes with certain things that stood out to me. But I'm not sure exactly the opening scenes. But initially they started.
Chuck Brown. Yeah, I think it started.
It started with Chuck. Oh, as it should have.
Yeah, of course.
You know, as far as his history.
Right.
And they even had a nice little clip, an old clip. It looked like if it wasn't in black and white, because it wasn't black and white, the clip with Chuck. If it wasn't in black and white, I would have thought that they did the interview themselves.
Right. Yeah.
It was well implemented into the into the documentary.
They had a lot of video footage and pictures, and you know, it was very informative for me. You know, I mean, we all know that Chuck is the Godfather. You know what I'm saying? And we all, most of us know that he wasn't.
I remember now.
Yeah.
They talked about the initial bands that preceded Chuck Brown, yeah. Like Black Heat, Senator, right? Yes. So they talked about those bands,
funk bands,
right? And then they talked about the Los Tinos,
yeah,
Chuck's original band,
right.
So at least the original band he had in this area.
In this area, right.
So and then they talked about, you know, far as how the bands were gigging and whatnot, and so I liked that aspect of it. I didn't like they mixed in footage from the old Chuck Brown with the new Chuck. Well, not the new Chuck, but the later, his last years,
Right.
And just the timing of how they was mixing in that footage.
Right.
And you would have to see it to see what I'm talking about. And he said, "Oh, Nico, you always complain about it." But I mean, yes, I'm critical of this,
Right.
how it's supposed to be done,
Right.
because I have a vision of how I like to see it.
Right.
But just like anybody else would.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
You know,
I'm
my
with
vision-
you on that. I definitely, I'm with you on that as far as the timeline of everything, the entire. Just like you said, if you didn't see it, you would be like, oh, they hating like I'm they ain't do it, so
Right.
It's nothing like that. But it's just that if I didn't understand it, then I would be, you know, one of those TV shows, they show you what happened before it really happened, and then they'll say 3 weeks earlier, like, but they let us know. You'd be like, hold up, what's going on? I already saw this like 2 episodes ago. But then they'll tell you at the bottom, you know, this is a precursor, you know, basically. But it was none of that as far as saying this was a precursor or 1981. It was no clear timeline. Like, there was no literature at the bottom that would say, hey, 1981, and then someone saying, we fast forward to 2019 where da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was back and forth a lot, and that was one of the things, concerns that I had as far as the timeline not being distinct for the people that have no idea.
I want you to put out a post for those of you who may have seen it.
I did.
Okay, if you may have seen the documentary last night,
I did.
Please call in 301-389-3397. Give us your comments and thoughts. I would love to hear them. I'm sure the other listeners would love to hear it as well. But you know, while we're waiting on somebody to call in, you know, if you choose to, if not, you just want to hear our opinions, we're going to gladly give them to you. So. Moving forward, once they went past the Chuck Brown piece, and the goal of the after our interview with Mr. Eugene Holder this past Thursday, he noted that the goal of the the documentary was to show the basis of and the foundation of the music, what he called the original five, and that's something I wanted to argue with him on, because he didn't actually get the original five, and it's funny because it actually was mentioned in the documentary that Junkyard, well, let's name them first of all: Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers, Rare Essence, Trouble Funk. Actually, I want to go in the order of the bands. Okay. So actually, it was made. So you got Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers. Trouble Funk, Rare Essence, EU.
Right.
That's 4.
Right.
Junkyard was not the fifth original band. Original. All right. It was noted in the documentary that they looked up to other bands.
Yeah, last of the.
One of them was Mass Extension.
Yeah, Mass Extension.
You know, so I believe they said Rez and the Boys as well.
And Air Raid. Yeah.
So those are bands before them.
Yeah.
So how are they part of the original five? So that's one part I think they got wrong. All right. And so I looked at that, and as been called a historian of the music.
Go-go-ologist.
Yes. Well, obviously I'm not.
Okay, so
I'll leave it there. I'll leave it.
How do you not talk
That's all right.
to
That's all right. That's all right. So anyway,
yeah.
So with that being there, I looked at that. I said, But what was noted, and it's something I've noted, and reason why I've said this about Bugs myself, is that Junkyard birthed all the other bands that's in this era, including the bounce beat, because after Junkyard, all the styles started after them. Is there a comment? Somebody got a comment? Okay, so let's move forward. So I said that about the original five. All right. So what else? What did you notice in and I'm gonna check out the comments myself. What did you notice that you saw as far as doing the timeline of how the movie was portrayed, or the documentary that is?
Just like I said, I mean, I was entertained. I was fully entertained. I wish the just like you said, the sound. I wish the acoustics were better for the young ladies I mean, they had everything covered, but the young ladies that they had for the hearing impaired was in the way. She was standing in front of them. I mean,
yeah,
they needed to be on the side somewhere.
Well, they felt like that was the side. It was on the side of the yeah,
but it was on the side of the speaker. Like
right.
She should have been standing on top of the speaker or something. They
like
had
Bugs
in
Wilmer's Park. Or
yeah,
something.
they had like a big, they had a platform speaker right there.
I can
She
see
could
her
have just like she could have just stepped on, you know, right. Just stepped on, and we was sitting in the reserved section in the front row, and I was lucky enough. One of my great friends saved me a seat in the front.
One hell of a friend.
Man, come through in the clutch every time.
One hell of a friend.
Not only for myself, but my companion for the night. They also did. Yes. So and we was sitting in the first row, and then 2 rows behind us was reserved. 1 row behind us and the third row were reserved for the hearing impaired, and there was actually no one there.
Right.
And not to say that there was no one in the building that was hearing impaired.
But they weren't in those seats.
They wasn't in the seats that were reserved for them. So
hey, look.
My thing was
whoever was up there was earning that check.
I still had to do something, but get out the way.
But they was earning that check.
Get out the way.
They was working all night. Actually, it was 2 of them. They rotated.
They would rotate.
One white, one black. Right. It was a black and white thing.
Right.
How about that? How does that go?
But the thing about it is that the sound was so muffled.
Yes.
They had to keep turning around to actually what the hell did they say?
I didn't understand that.
I really
and you made note of it that all the house speakers weren't on.
They were not on.
Do you feel like that was something that they was like they didn't want us to have that crank in the building?
I don't know, because I
reason?
performed there in a non-go-go environment, and it was nothing like that. The acoustics were awesome.
Really?
The sound was awesome. So that was a non-go-go environment.
I remember for Polo's funeral, it didn't sound nothing like that. Yeah. And Polo and them came, well, not Polo and them, but they performed at the funeral, and they had that joint turned up. You know, so
but they probably had, the sound man come in and put some woofers and some stacks and racks and all kinds of stuff like that. Right. So that's why I was saying in a non-go-go environment, I performed there, because that's without the added equipment, so. But other than that, I just think that, to move a little bit past, Rio was very informative. he told a lot about, the inside business of go-go. Him and Charlie. And I didn't know that that Daryl Brooks was one of the people that put on Go-Go Live.
Daryl Brooks was one of the initial promoters of Go-Go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Go-Go,
I mean, just
period.
saying, yeah. No,
Daryl
I
Brooks
wouldn't know that.
A lot of people don't know that Daryl Brooks actually was one of the co-promoters of the first ever acknowledged Go-Go. Yes.
What is the first,
him and Kenny Barnes.
Who was the first acknowledged Go-Go?
I mean, it was Chuck in Trouble.
But
at the Club LeBaron.
But did they have that information in the documentary?
I don't believe they brought that up.
No, they didn't. So that's why. That's why I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it would have been nice information to bring that the first ever documented. You know what I'm saying? Go-Go.
Well,
you know
it wasn't. But that's like I said. Those are certain things that that we could pick at and say we wished we could have been asked. But a lot of questions were asked.
202-389-3397, right?
What's that?
What's the number?
Here?
Yeah.
301. What you put? Hold on.
301.
240. 240.
240.
Yeah, 240.
Number isn't working. Yes. I wonder why. Because it's the wrong number.
Yes. 240-389-3397.
240. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Doc, thanks, Doc.
Is that Doc Hughes?
Fat Doc.
Oh, hey, what's up, Doc? Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Number is working now. It's 240.
We apologize. So, with that being said, I hope Doc was there last night. Cause
I hope he was too. I didn't see him. I hope he was.
Yeah, but it was a lot of brothers and sisters there. Yeah. It was a very good showing within the go-go community. I saw a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. I saw Miss Cookie, Victoria Cookie, who I worked on the last Go-Go Awards. Me, her, and a few others worked on at the Lincoln Theater. Okay, I got you. Caller, thank you for calling into the GoWIN radio show. Who is this?
DOC, Black Passion.
What's happening, Doc? What's going on, bruh?
Same old different day, man.
That's what's happening. Were you at the documentary last night of Straight Crankin' at the Lincoln Theater?
Oh, I definitely was. Definitely.
Okay. That's what's up, man. I wish I would have seen you. I would have dapped you up, man. Give us your views of what you thought of the documentary last night.
First thing I want to do is say thanks to whoever decided to do it. It was long overdue. It was definitely needed to be done. I just felt it was a great look, period. Overall, it may have been some things that could have been added, could have been kept out. But at the end of the day, I applaud the effort, for actually showcasing our genre, our culture. It was needed. It was a beautiful thing. It was great to see that and to hear the reaction of people when they would see certain people from Go-Go when they would come up, like when Cal came up or Lil Benny came up or BU, like to hear and watch those people go crazy, it was epic.
Doc, what would you have added if it was you? If it was your $100,000 and you would have made a Go-Go documentary, out of what you saw last night, what did you feel like was missing that Fat Doc from Black Passion Experience, Black Passion Band would have added to the documentary, other than your band?
No, you can't say other than his band.
What I would have definitely added would have been broadcasting what's next, the next spinoff, the next documentary. That's what I would have added. That's it. Everything that they've done, I'm never going to say, man, take that and redo it. Nah, they finally did something. So that's beautiful. Now let's go ahead and make our spinoffs.
There you go.
I told Big Tony earlier, I was like, I want to see a Trouble Funk documentary. Right. Drop the bomb. That's what we're going to call it.
And it's interesting.
I want to see it. I want to see more. Let's keep it going.
It's interesting you said that because that was acknowledged by the director / producer / writer of the event, Mr. Eugene Holdman. He told me that as I interviewed him after the documentary, which I agree with you. If that was me, I would have said that at the end of it, while everybody was standing right there or listening, I would have put that out there just to keep the interest popping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
a
Doc.
little spoiler, a little teaser. You know what I'm saying? Polo story, TCB. Like,
I'm sorry.
you want to keep this attention and
Right.
this, people being excited for it. You gotta give them something to look forward to. That's how they leave us in suspense when you talk about Power or Shameless or anything that we watch on TV. Same difference.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but you did say initially,
Hold on, sis. For those whoever's calling in, please hold on just a minute and either call right back. Let me finish with this caller because I'll give you the same type of acknowledgement as well. Go ahead.
So you did say initially there was a lot of things that I would have put in, or a couple of things that could have put in, or a couple of things I could have left out. No, so this is radio. What is just like you said? What's one of those couple of things that you would have put in?
You did say that, Doc.
Yes.
Yeah, I did say that. I mean, there was one thing that Conan said that I think could have been left out. Like when he was describing Lil Benny going on to do something else without the band, and he said something into the effect of, sometimes we get in our own way. I didn't like that. Because at the end of the day, I know this is a personal genre. We don't want our people gone from us. We don't want to share them with the world, but that's the only way this is ever going to get out there. So, I didn't like that being said. I mean, I understand it messed up things for RE at that time, but that needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't ever be mad at somebody for wanting to be better. Do something they've never done. That's where I felt as though that could have been left out. That edit definitely needed to be left out, especially that man ain't even here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel you definitely if it wasn't a personal conversation between the two of them, and it was like, it wasn't a, hey, I talked to him and he told me the reason why and da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just an opinion that probably didn't count. So
Yeah,
I feel you.
Definitely,
I feel you.
definitely.
I
But
feel you.
like I said, that was something that was just my personal
Right.
opinion because I have a bias for Lil Benny. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about him in a certain way that ain't just bigging him up.
And so let me ask you a question, Doc. My fellow go-go genre recipient performer that you are. Okay. Did you?
She working, ain't she? So
No. So I was talking to Nico earlier, and I posed a not really a question, but I guess how I felt. I feel as though that if I would have brought my kids know what I do and how I participate in this genre day in, day out, night in, night out. And I felt though that the documentary kind of erased everything that I have accomplished or done in this genre because it made no mention of the things that I have contributed, not me personally, but my band status and, like the bands that I've played in, they were not even mentioned. So
Yeah.
I feel as though that I'm like, dang, like, am I even in this show? Like, if you bring somebody to show them some proof, you be like, see, kids, we about to tell you the history, and then you bring them and they like, well, where you at, though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I felt as though
That's heavy.
it kind of erased everything I've done. I mean, I know what I've done. You know what I'm saying? Not me even personally. I'm just talking about we, us, and I say we because you're in that lane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it kind of, it missed the whole era.
That's why I feel as though the spinoff is definitely required.
Right.
They have people like our DJ Dirty Rico. He's involved. And I feel as though if he's going to stay in with that entire movement, that's going to be our bridge to get us out there so they can interview us, hear about our trials and tribulations of going through the years and years that we've been doing it.
Right.
So I didn't take it as a slight. I just took it as this is their time to get their flowers while they still here. The Big G's, the Bugs, the White Boys, and so on and so forth.
No, but
This
they
is for them.
skipped
Now,
over
when it
and
comes
went
for the
right to
next
bounce
time,
beat. They went right to bounce beat. They skipped out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we just concentrating on the old heads. They did acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, the youngins. And just like
Yeah.
mix.
I didn't think it was enough though, but that was just, you know,
of course, okay.
It was what it was. By the time it got to that part, it just wasn't enough, even for them.
Especially the women. That was a real afterthought. That was like, don't leave, hold on. We got to talk about these ladies.
and we gonna get into that.
Yeah.
I want us to do a special segment just on that right there. Hey Doc, man, I appreciate it, man. We had a couple people trying to call in, man. Let's get these calls in, but we appreciate you for calling in, and we gonna rap to you. We gonna bring you in one day, man.
All right, that's a bet, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Doc, for calling in.
All right.
Okay.
That right there was Big Doc, my man.
Fat Doc.
Big Fat Doc.
The doctor.
Now, you know, but let me tell you something about Doc. Doc, one of the smoothest brothers you ever want to know.
You remind me of Heavy D.
Hey, let me tell you something. We went up to Jersey one time and did a live broadcast up there, and Doc was. I had Doc co-hosting with another young lady that was working here at the station, and Doc was up that joint so smooth. I mean, he had smooth out. It was a masquerade joint, and Doc was up there kicking it, man. And he's a good dude. So look, I tell you what, let's go do some music. Give people a chance to call in. Put the number back out there for me, sis.
It's 240-389-3397. If you were in the building, got a chance to see the documentary Straight Crankin' about our genre of music. Our genre. At the historically acclaimed Lincoln Theater. Give us a call in and let us know what you think, what you thought. 240-389-3397.
Speaking of, I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone right here.
What you gonna do?
Speaking of women and the youngins or the bounce beat genre, I'm gonna play this right here. Keep it locked right here on the GoWIN Radio Show. We're gonna talk some more about Straight Crankin', the Go-Go documentary, right here on GoGo Radio Live, Win DC Radio, all wrapped up in GoWin.media, coming to you live
from the shops at Addison.
DJ Cool. She is Miss Michelle Blackwell. Y'all got about 5 seconds to get on the dance floor. Everybody bounce. Come on, let's go. Is everybody here all right? Y'all all right? This that jam that y'all been waiting to hear all night. Come on. What she sitting down for? Won't she hit the dance floor? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here it goes. They like it when they watch us when and all the boys that come through, they coming through just for that. All my dimes to the flow, my ladies run the show when we bend the lower end, drop it lower end. We getting dollars when they try holler when and picking up about 10 or 15 new haters when we. What you pouting for? Just bring it on the floor while we bend the lower end, drop it lower end. We on our first round, passing bottles all around on me. Hey, get your drinks in there. Got the whole club popping from the floor to the VIP. Everybody get your hands up. Come on. Is everybody here all right? It's that jam that y'all been waiting to hear all night. What she sitting down for? Won't she hit the dance floor? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here it goes. We hypnotize them with this and tantalize them with this. And all the boys don't know what to do, so they just watch us when we. All my dimes to the flow, my ladies run the show when we bend the lower end, drop the lower end. The fellas loving when they come and join us when we get together. It's a party every time we let it. What you pouting for? Just bring it on the floor while we bend the lower end, drop it lower end. We on our first round, passing bottles all around on me. All drinks on Miss Michelle Blackwell. Got the whole club popping from the floor to the VIP. VIP, what's good? Let's go. Is everybody here all right? This that jam that y'all been waiting to hear all night. What she sitting down for? Won't she hit the dance floor? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Everybody bounce. Come on, bounce. Everybody bounce. Everybody bounce. Come on, bounce. Everybody down. Everybody clap. Come on, clap. Everybody clap. Everybody clap. Come on, clap. Now let the beat rock.
Caller, thank you for calling in to the GoWIN Radio Show. Who is this?
This is your boy Bootsy Vegas.
Hey! We want Bootsy!
You up too daggone loud.
What's up, man?
Nah, hey, look, I got to shout out this brother, right? And that's, hey, look, I'm so glad you called because I was feeling a certain kind of way when I saw you last night. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, let me give him the proper introduction.
Oh, God.
This young man right here, a lot of people don't know our story, but when he was young, very young.
We don't have time to hear it.
No, it's real. Okay. It's real.
Oh,
He can snap it.
That's real talk.
He used to come sit on my living room floor along with another young member of matter of fact, y'all didn't even have OP Tribe at the time, right?
Nah, we did.
Yeah. Sit on my floor and learn about and listen to go-go.
Yep. Your house was filled with every tape that I wanted. If I ever needed it, I would knock on your door. You would open the door for me and Taco and allow us to come in your apartment, which was filled with PA tapes, and we could just buy the tapes from you. I remember there were days when I had $20 and 10 of them would go to Nico every time. Literally, 10 would go to Nico.
It probably still look like that too.
Nah, come on. I don't even live over there no
CDs,
more. Nah, all that's in storage now. Okay. My wife ain't going for it. So look, this young man, y'all know him affectionately as Bootsy Vegas is his stage name. We know him as Salih. He's actually a brother of ours. Go-Go Radio, alumni, family, always will be.
Absolutely.
And this young man, I saw him last night. Did you see him last night?
The letter E. Yeah, yes. I saw him.
Okay, and it was really good.
I want them EK glasses, Tasha. You better make something happen.
I got you.
Yeah.
They're gonna be BKs.
So E, tell us your impression of the documentary last night.
Okay, so before I give you my opinion, I want to preface something by saying this first. I don't want to be because I think it's too many people grandstanding and bragging and go-go. But let me just say this before I give my opinion. I have a degree in broadcast journalism. Not only do I have a degree, I teach broadcast journalism for the Department of Recreation. I taught it in high school for a year, and I've been offered a few jobs to teach broadcast journalism. I have a student who I taught broadcast journalism who teaches at Richard Wright right now, broadcast journalism.
Which is a black charter school.
Broadcast journalistic perspective because I have a degree in it, and that's what I do. Is what I devoted my life to.
That's what's up.
So let me say this. Now, I want to say this secondly. When you do a documentary, there are two types of documentaries. There is a documentary, which is the more informative documentary from news outlets that report the story as is. Like, they just report the facts, which is documented. So there are a lot of documentaries that are reported on what happened, the time frame it happened, the success, the losses. And then there are documentaries that are opinion-based documentaries, where it's a documentary shown and it's a few people's perspective or opinions on how they see it. And what I saw last night was a documentary basically on a few people's perspectives and opinions, not per se all the facts. Now, we all have been around this music for some years, so we look at it. We may see the same thing and interpret it differently. But I want to say this. I don't think it gets nobody nowhere when you talk about a genre of music that is not nationally known or is still getting the information out there. It's not good when you do a documentary and you got some OG people talking and saying, well, when I was here, I was doing this. But when the next generation came, I ain't like it. Or I ain't a fan of it. Or I ain't that. You know what I mean? The one thing about music, Maurice White told me this, from the great Maurice White told me this from Earth, Wind & Fire. He said, evolution is undefeated. He said, in all genres of music, aspects of life, evolution. And when it evolves, either you're going to be in front or you're in back of it. And I don't always particularly like the fact that there is a particular function of these documentaries where the 80s and the 70s and a little bit of the late 80s is highlighted. And then when they got to this part, that's when it started to go off. I think we got to do a better job of supporting each other, highlighting what the successes is, and not focusing on certain people's opinion and just telling the story as is, like just telling the facts.
Well, Bootsy,
You know what I mean?
Bootsy,
Go ahead.
I had an interview with the writer, producer, director of the documentary by the name of Eugene Holder, and we interviewed him on Thursday, and I asked him, and he said that he wanted this documentary to be a strictly from the musician's point of view, and while that was, I found that partially true because, like you just said, there's a couple of different ways of telling the story. It wasn't strictly from the musician's point of view, as he stated.
Exactly.
And it was a couple of people, like you mentioned Conan, which is my mentor in radio, as well as yours.
Absolutely. That's my guy.
Yes. Him and CJ, when they used to the WOL back in the day, which I felt like that should have been implemented in the documentary some kind of way. Kind of way.
Absolutely.
I mean,
that was
if not, but just a mention.
Introductory to go-go.
Yeah,
was when WL was doing the Night Go-Go show, when that little bitty album first came out.
Yes.
That was my first full-fledged introduction. But my thing is this, though. They act like, and I'm not saying they, I'm just saying in general, when I see these things, there's a certain fraction of older people that act like when it got to a certain point, which was the 90s and on down, it kind of lost, it kind of lost its flavor, or it wasn't what it used to be. Let's speak facts right now. The fact is, go-go is in the households because of the internet and stuff like that. It is worldwide, and it is completely being introduced to an audience that never knew about it.
Right.
We just saw somebody in Poland go to another country, another continent, and teach the culture and the dances in a class for all Caucasian people. That is success. Wale, what he's been doing, Fusion Go-Go, basically his success in rap has been on the back of Go-Go. That is success. That is a victory for Go-Go. Like, I don't like the fact that we get to a certain point and then we act like it's stagnated. It may be stagnated. It may not be the way you see it, but it is still flourishing and doing great. And I don't care what nobody say, and I love everybody, but you can't be diminishing Bounce Beat's contribution to this culture. It may not be the way you did it, because the way Chuck Brown did it ain't the way EU did it. The way EU did it ain't the way Backyard did it. The way Junkyard did it with them 3-finger chords that people were complaining about. And I know you remember when Junkyard was successful, they were complaining about that. I'm just saying everything evolves, right. But any win for any band is a win for Go-Go. So stop reporting kind of like half of it and stop putting your opinion on what you particularly like and not the facts as is. Because Go-Go has never not been flourishing. It hasn't. And I think we got to do a better job of including younger people and people who are from the 90s into them. Because to me, I don't think you can tell the correct story about Go-Go and not have Northeast Groovers and Backyard in it. I don't think, I think people may not even know the success of Northeast Groovers and how they revolutionized it with records and how they ushered in, and then people follow behind that. Like, there's so many positive stories that are never not told because people come from a certain generation and have an opinion of how they see it, and they may not particularly care for or appreciate what they did. That's all I'm saying. I think it was a great night. It was good to see everybody, but we got to do a better job on stating the facts and not people's opinion on how they saw it. We need to state facts on what Wale did, what the success and the contribution that the Bounce Beat has had to the next generation of Go-Go. We need to stop saying, well, I don't like it, and you shouldn't even go over there because it ain't for you. You don't know what's for anybody. Just report the facts, bruh. Just report the successes, and that's it. Leave your opinion out of it because it's still flourishing. It really is. So just leave your opinion out of it next time.
Well, yeah.
To me,
right?
To me, you know what I mean? And I love everybody, and I appreciate what everybody did.
Real quick, on your point, I want you to be a little bit more specific to our listeners and our watchers. When you say leave your opinion out of it, who are you directing that comment to?
Well, I'm just directing it to the part of when they like, well, the next generation bounce beat, I ain't like. Now, a few people was in that documentary saying, well, I don't like it, and I don't particularly care for it, and it don't have no real musical value. I heard that said. Well, to me, I don't like it, it ain't got no musical value. You know, music evolves, evolution is undefeated, and what is musically valued to you could be different to me. But don't be saying that their style or the next generation wasn't like our generation and it don't got no value, because you are diminishing their contribution when you start saying stuff like, okay, it's here, I mean, it's cool, I'm cool with it, but it ain't got no value and I don't like it. When you in a documentary that's going worldwide and you start stating that, then you kind of getting off the topic, which is the agenda was to highlight all the great stuff about go-go and the significant contribution it means to the culture of the DMV. Leave your personal comments of what you like and what you don't like out of it. You know what I mean? Because be clear, I don't like grown and sexy go-go. I don't like no band that play one beat all night and do covers. But it don't diminish their contribution and how people take to it. That's my personal opinion. But it's still a platform for it, and people still, like it, and people still support it. And it does help go-go. I don't think it's going to help you in the future playing 80 cover songs all night, but I can't diminish the fact that people like it. So let's just state the facts versus saying it's here and it's doing good, but I don't like it. So especially when Bo said, well, Chuck Brown liked it, Chuck Brown supported it. Like, right. People need to be more like Chuck. You know what I mean? Like, just give them their respect, because I remember when Northeast, and I know you remember this, Nico, when Northeast was getting successful, people hated it. When Backyard started getting successful, the old guard hated it. When every time something new comes, people, the older generation, despise it.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
They started accepting it though when they started seeing it making money.
Exactly, but it took them some time to say, well, obviously they ain't going nowhere, and people like it. You know what I mean? But my thing is this though, and I'm gonna let it go. But this is a personal opinion that I don't like ejecting. But you know what? Polo did. So give a man his respect and let him rest in peace. Straight up. Stop talking about what you don't like. Stop talking about it ain't real music. The man is dead now, and people should be a little bit more respectful to people who had a contribution, who devoted their lives to it and passed away. Just respect the people, you know what I mean, and move on. I don't need your opinion, and he's dead, so he's not here to defend you and all that. Just give your opinion, report on what it is, and keep it moving. But stop saying you don't like certain fractions of it, because that's not what a documentary is for, and it's not going to help nobody. And it's going to make them younger bands and the people in the other bands not like you. You know what I mean? It's going to make them not want to be around you. If I was growing up and Chuck Brown said, you know what, Opie Tribe, Backyard, I don't like what y'all do. That's not go. We wouldn't have liked them. We wouldn't have. We loved them because he respected the way we did it and encouraged us. And that's what we need more of, versus your biased opinion because you don't like it or you don't think it has no musical value. What's musical value to you ain't the same to everybody else. Because I don't think cover songs in one Congo beat is musical value, but that's my perspective. But people still love it.
You've said that like 3 times. You said that like 3 times within the past 3 minutes. So hush it up, Bootsy Vegas. So my question, hold on.
Real talk, homie. Natasha, real talk. If you passed away and somebody was talking about you like that, I would call and say the same thing, young. He gone, young. Y'all need to stop talking about him, young. He gone.
Now,
you know what I mean?
I definitely understand.
Give him the same respect you give Chuck.
Right.
Straight up.
I definitely understand that, but I'm familiar with, I was there at the event last night, and the person that mainly said that, okay, I know Sugar Bear, touched on it and said, how he felt about it in the beginning, but now he enjoys it, you know what I'm saying? Or, he's grown to care for it. He sees the value in it. Yeah. So, but the main person to me that that just in general you're speaking, but I do remember DJ Cool saying that he did not like it. So, and coming from a DJ, that's real, I guess, mind-boggling to me, because the music,
and Tasha, and let's analyze this.
What?
I see no real musical value in it. That's a deep statement, though.
Yeah, definitely, and he's a DJ. So when I heard that,
He's an OG too.
Yeah, and when I heard that, but I was saying to myself, I'm not really sure. I'm still not sure, even after the documentary. But I'm not really sure why should he have been in the documentary? I mean,
He should have been in it.
Okay.
Oh,
So
definitely.
his contribution to GoGo?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he should be in it.
Yeah.
He should absolutely be in it.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
Okay, so
Yeah. Well, dude,
I
what
wasn't
DJ
really
Cool
I mean-
don't get credit for is he was one of the first people to successfully fuse go-go and rap on a national level.
Okay.
He definitely
Sure
deserves to
was.
be in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? His contribution is noted.
Nope.
But just give the people
But
that's
Ben-
coming after you the same respect that you want for what your contribution is.
Right.
And I ain't just talking about DJ Cool because that's my man.
Right.
DJ Cool is my man, like my man. I'm just saying in general, let's stop getting in the habit of demonizing what you don't particularly care for in these younger kids playing go-go. That's not what you there for, bro.
Bootsy,
You ain't there for that.
Bootsy, I'm not gonna. From what you just said, and this is what I gather out of that. From what you just said, those opinions of those cats didn't necessarily have to be in the film. So I put that more on
My
the
man.
I put
My
that
man.
more on the
Editor,
director,
on the editor.
Yes,
Yeah.
than I would on them because those views are well known by certain people in the culture, like you and I. We already
Exactly.
knew they felt that way,
Right.
and so
And
what
no
you're
matter
saying
what your
is,
opinion of it is, it's still flourishing and people are still responding to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it don't matter. It's having a humongous contribution in keeping the go-go culture alive. So it don't matter if you like it or not. I don't like grown and sexy cover go-go, but it's still keeping stuff alive.
Man,
you know what I mean?
say that
So
one
look,
more
keep your
time,
personal
man. We gonna
opinion
disconnect.
out of it when you're doing a documentary that's supposed to be bringing people together and keeping
Right.
a genre of music going.
Right.
Keep your personal opinion out of it. Like, it ain't no need for all that because we know it ain't your thing. But don't disrespect them because you don't want nobody disrespecting you and your contribution.
Broadcast journalist degree holder. What is the other form of documentary? Doing a documentary because you went over one, which is straight facts.
Okay.
What is the other form?
documentary would be basically from 70 to 80. These bands were here. This was the successes, the highs and the lows. These are their record sales. These are their highlights being on the Studio Hall show. The 90s come. It would be maybe Northeast Groove with the success of those albums. You would just report it. You would just document the successes and lows, the contribution they had all over the world, and then you would keep it moving. It wouldn't be more of an opinion-based, this is how I saw it. No, the facts are the facts. You know what I mean? Like
that's like
I can speak a fact.
that's like
I gotta speak a
PBS.
fact right now. I ain't a fan of him, but Dirk from Vibe deserved his respect for what he did for Grown and Sexy Go-Go. He's had a run, and whether you like him or not, or like the way he did it, it's documented that he was successful at this for some years. Listen was successful at it. They ain't together no more. But for 4 or 5 years during this time period, they were at a astronomical contribution to the culture. That's a fact.
Nico
it ain't my
and I,
opinion.
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, if I
Nico
was
and
doing
I
it,
talked
I
about
would
that.
give Vibe their respect, whether I like Vibe or not. You know what I mean? So that would be the other part of a journalistic documentary on a music that's regional.
That's
Just
what
take
I
the
was
facts.
saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I was discussing with Nico. It seemed like they missed the whole era. You know,
Thank you.
they just missed
But
the whole
also,
era.
but also, just take the facts. I don't want your opinion.
Yeah.
Tell me what you did, what your contributions was, what your successes was, what your lows was, maybe what you would change, and then you go to the next person. I don't need to. I don't need you to tell me what you don't like about people that don't make music for your age range. I don't need you to do that.
Well, like I said, that's that those opinions have been documented in the past that certain individuals feel a certain way, and that's natural. Like you can go in any music industry, and different artists feel different ways about how certain artists came to be and got their success. You can go through history and see that. So with that being said, those are the things that you love. I mean, you didn't like about it. What are the attributions that you loved about it?
Well, I love the fact that I felt like that the people who wasn't there, they gave their respect to, like Alvin Goff, who don't really get a lot of credit. I also respect the way that it brought everybody together. I love the fact on how they, besides the opinion, I love how they gave people their respect. What I feel like perfect example, they gave Big G his real rightful respect. to me in that documentary yesterday. I think he don't get his respect as a lead talker because to me the mark of a great lead talker or a great musician is stuff is done one way, and then when you come, you can hear traces of everything you did and everybody else. And I think they did a great job of highlighting what his contribution has really been to go-go. I like the fact that everybody came together. I like the fact that it was a different types of go-go in there, talking about like Go, Scooby, gang. I like the fact that it was definitely a bunch of different genres or generations of go-go all contributing to the documentary. I love that last night. I just wish we could have just highlighted on the positive stuff and not your negative opinion on stuff that don't help us move the culture forward along. Because we don't know who's going to see this documentary. We don't know who's going to look at it. We don't know. You know what I mean? So just be careful on your opinion on what you like and what you don't like, especially if you're OG or if you consider yourself an OG.
Well, is that
just give them that respect like Chuck Brown did.
Well, would it be fair?
Chuck Brown gave everybody his respect.
Would it be fair to say that, when you go to a funeral, everybody's reading obituary and they do the eulogy and they always talk about the good stuff. They never talk about the person that they were, because nobody's a perfect angel. So, you go to a funeral and they say, oh, it's all the good. So could they be, I understand what you're saying, diminishing the reputation of our genre is hurtful.
But hold on, not diminishing the reputation, their contribution.
Right.
I want to be really careful with the words.
Right.
A lot of people, the Bounce Beat people, they have a humongous contribution on keeping the culture of go-go alive.
Right.
They have a humongous contribution, not just what your opinion. You can't deny their contribution. You can't. So just give everybody the respect of what they have contributed, like you want yours, OG. Give them their respect too. That's my thing.
Okay.
Just give everybody give each other the respect. Let's love each other. And let's try to keep this thing moving forward. I don't need your personal opinion on what you don't like.
I think the personal opinions are warranted as far as when you're doing a story like this. But it could have been done in a different light. You know how you see those documentaries where
Tasha,
I'm saying, listen, hold on. You see those documentaries.
Somebody giving their personal opinion.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. You know how you see the documentaries where they ask a question. You can hear, just like you said, there's different ways to do these things. So you hear, when you can hear a reporter or, a journalist asking a question. Well, how do you feel about the culture of the bounce beat? I don't like it. Yeah, I love it. Oh, it makes me feel that, and they go down the list, it just could have been a time for your personal opinion. Just like I feel you when there's a time and a place for it, because they do have their right in it of how they felt. Just like Sugar Bear said, he was like, dang, I ain't really careful, but now I'm like, they ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going nowhere, and it's what we do. So it's just like with anything, with fashion, with dances, with old people at your job, on government jobs, that the new hires come in that are straight out of college. They don't like you because they know they're going to get you doing the same thing they doing for $25,000 less, and it's your time. You feel as though they pushing you out because you old. So that's my
Let me ask you a question, Josh. Let me ask you a real question and be clear.
Go ahead.
And for everybody listening, I want everybody to know, me and Tasha is homies.
Yeah.
We are homies, so I don't want nobody to take this no type of way.
Right.
But Tasha, what if some younger kids, right, some younger Bounce Beat people did a documentary and said, man, I don't care for them old hating ass go-go people who be hating our music. This stuff is trash, and I don't like it anyway. How do you think that would be perceived?
I mean, it's their opinion. I mean, they
exactly.
Don't like,
but it wouldn't be right because they wouldn't give them their rightful respect and contribute to the culture and what they help keep alive. I'm just saying it works both ways. Just like you want your respect for your contribution, give them their respect.
But
and
you can't have a story. You can't have a story.
When you got a documentary that is government funded by a government agency to travel all over the world to other government agencies, it should be highlighting on the successes and the great stuff that we do and how it's been around. When you start giving your opinion on, well, this ain't good and that ain't good, that's when you blurring the line up a little bit, you know what I mean? But especially when you're an OG and you saying it. That's not helping the culture. That's not helping people want to check for the music. Now, this is great. You should go check it out. Because if younger kids did a documentary, dissing them saying, I don't like it, but it's all right, they would be mad about it. they would be mad about it.
I
And they
mean,
would have every right to be mad about it.
understand. I
You know what I
definitely
mean?
I understand what you're saying, but you can't have a story without an opinion. You know what I'm saying? You can
No,
state
no,
state
you
facts.
can't tell a story without an
No,
opinion. You can just tell the story.
You can tell
without your, because
but you can't
T-Twin,
tell his
everybody
story.
got a biased opinion.
He told his
Everybody's
story.
opinion is biased.
Right. Sugar Bears, he told his story, and the people that are saying they are telling their story, and that is their contribution to the genre. So they're telling their story. So it is, in fact, a documentary about they're asking these people their questions for legitimate reasons. So that is his opinion. That is a part of his story. That's his truth. They asked him, how do you like the music? I'm pretty sure all the rap artists, they have a genre of music. They don't like each other. They don't, either personally or they don't care for their music. You'll see it. Talented artists, I really don't just care for his, for his music. I mean, what's the harm in that? It's just his opinion.
Tasha, the journalist in me would say, your opinion on another genre of music does not have nothing to do with your story.
Not another
your
genre.
Your story is what you accomplished and what you achieved and what you didn't. But your opinion on another genre of music or what it is, that's not part of your story.
How is it not? How is it not?
Part of your story.
How is it not a part of the culture of his music? Sugar Bear, let's just say Sugar Bear. Let's take him for example, because he's the one that said, I don't like it. I didn't like it.
He wasn't the only one.
No. I'm just saying. Let's just say, I'm going to use him. I'm going to use him because he changed, his opinion. That's the fact. They asked him, it is his genre. He was one of the foundings, and it's his genre. And they asked him, how did he feel about the music coming on the scene? And that's his truth. He didn't like it. He didn't understand it. He felt as though they were ruining what he, what I'm saying. It was just different. And that's what different things do to people.
That's not. But Tasha, that's not a part of his story, though.
It is. It was the effect on his. It is a part of his story. That hurt his pockets.
Nothing to do with Bounce Beat.
That hurt his pockets.
You know what I mean?
No, that hurt his pockets. That hurt his pockets. That hurt his pockets. It hurt his pockets. That's a part of his story. Like, damn, we ain't really gigging like that. When this bounce stuff stop coming on, old people not coming out no more. The youngest is coming out no more. We ain't getting as many gigs. That hurt your pockets. I mean, their contribution was a good thing to the culture, but they asked a personal opinion question.
He
didn't just give
because of my love and respect to you, I'm not going to argue with you on no public platform.
Okay.
I love you too much to do it. But you will receive a phone call from me later, and we're going to have us a conversation.
If somebody asks you your personal opinion,
I can't say you wrong for that opinion.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, if somebody asks me my personal opinion,
just give everybody the respect.
I understand. I definitely understand. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Just give everybody their respect.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Whoever it may be, give them their respect.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but what I'm saying is, just like we can rewind and say what the initial problem was, is he blamed the editor because it didn't have to go in. But when you ask a question and you ask my personal opinion, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, but my whole point again is, what I started with, reporting on your opinion and reporting on the story is two different things. I just wanted to be noted. Me reporting on a story or reporting on my opinion, it ain't the same thing.
So maybe it could have been called a docu-story then.
Whatever.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a documentary on GoGo.
Yeah.
And I think in the future, if we're going to do this stuff, we're going to highlight the culture, let's try to keep it peaceful and give everybody respect to their contribution.
I perfectly
agree. You can leave
agree.
your personal opinion out of it.
I agree.
We all feel personally a different way about certain stuff, but it don't minimize people's contribution. That's all I'm saying.
I definitely agree.
Gotcha.
Because I was erased. I wasn't even mentioned. So, my whole, not even me personally. I'm just talking about, just the whole era wasn't even mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, instead of spending time on demonizing, talk about the stuff that they missed and what's still great about it and what's going on.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because GoGo don't have these platforms often, so we need to maximize these platforms and these nights where the city support us. We need to really maximize these opportunities because we don't know how many of these we're going to have while gentrification is happening, while public policy is taking place and people are funneling money to other arts programs. Let's do a better job of supporting the next generation so we can keep this culture going.
I agree.
For real.
I agree.
We got to do a better job of that. You know what I mean? And it's already known how I feel about Grown Up Frequency Go-Go. But I can never say I don't got no respect for them and they don't have a contribution.
Nobody asked your
no
opinion.
matter how I feel about them.
Nobody asked your opinion today, E. Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Tasha, I swear to God, I love me some you and I love me some Nico, man. I love what y'all doing. I would love for y'all to invite me in there, keep doing what y'all doing. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got to do a better job of loving each other, loving the culture, and loving the contributions that we all bring to this. We spend too much time on stuff that don't help us. We spend too much time on stuff that don't further the music along. And we don't know how long we got at this, and we don't know how long the powers of be are going to be supportive. Let's use these platforms to highlight everybody, not bash everybody. Straight up.
There it is, and you just heard it from the one and only Bootsy Vegas.
And last thing, and I'm gonna say this and leave. This is some real talk. I worked for Earth, Wind & Fire, and I worked for Verdine White, who was the soundtrack director for Good to Go, and I worked for Donnie Simpson, who was the program director at KYS during those times. Be clear, I know the truth. I'm just laying back, and I'm letting everybody roll with their stories. But I want to be known for anybody that want to test it. I know the truth. So I'm just going to let that linger there.
About Good to Go?
I know Verdine White really good, and I know Donnie Simpson real good. So just be clear. I know the story. I'm just laying low. Let's just love each other.
The story on what, E?
Good to Go?
The story on Max Kidd, the story on Good to Go, the story on the soundtrack, why some of the things fell down, why some of the things didn't work. Because I had conversations with the horses, with the actual people that was there. Verdine White was the soundtrack director for Good to Go for a long time. He was instrumental in that with Chris Blackwell. So hold on. So you know that I know Verdine really well.
So you brought that up. So I want to ask you a quick question before I go. A quick question. So you brought in. How did you feel about them giving their opinion on Good to Go?
I think the opinion was cool, but I think it was some behind the scenes stuff that one person was in control of that messed it up. One person had all the power. One person was who they said was in charge of all the go-go bands, and Verdine White told me just directly. He said whenever they wanted to work with somebody outside of a certain person, they was always directed back to this one person. They wanted to work with people and not have to deal with this one person, but he always managed a way to get in between me. So, and this came from Verdine. So, I'm just saying. And also, he told me this too. He said the only difference was with go-go and rap was that rap had Russell Simmons, who was young, vibrant, and really entrenched in the culture of hip-hop. He said Max Kidd was a little older, not young, not really into it, was more of a business side versus the culture of it and seeing it go further. And he said that was the difference of them putting money behind one genre of music than another. And that's fact. That's fact. Yeah.
There it is. Well, you just heard from my main man, Bootsy Vegas, and we appreciate you for calling in. And we will be bringing you in, as I requested, when we spoke last night. And,
absolutely, man.
We definitely looking forward to that, man. We appreciate you for calling in, bro.
Shout out to Bootsy and them flip-flops and with them socks you had on last night.
Hey, man. Hey, Tasha, I love you. Nico, I love you. I appreciate you guys, man. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. I love you guys, man.
All right,
I really do.
All right,
thank you. And that was my main man, Bootsy Vegas. And, hey, look, matter of fact, we're going to come back and digest some of the comments.
It was one comment made online that I don't know if it's Sharon or Sharon. She says that she was at the premiere. She enjoyed herself, but the only thing that she felt as though they left out was the fans.
Well, like I said, and he said it. Matter of fact, Mr. Thorpe said at the beginning when he was introducing it that this was supposed to be from the opinions of the musicians. He said that at the beginning.
Okay.
So when we
But there were people inside
yes
that were not musicians.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So
that made it a little bit more of a contrary, but he just spoke on some of the opinions of those people that were musicians that he felt that were harmful to the culture.
So was it a documentary or was it a docu-story? Or,
he said it was strictly, he wanted something from, now I've seen documentaries that were from the opinions of the musicians before, this is not a first of its kind.
Oh, of course not.
So, but the way he made it out there, like,
because you know how like Unsung does the documentary, but they're docu stories because there are like
they talk to those involved
that were there when it happened,
and the musicians
and the musicians, so how their artists, spouses, their artists, the road managers, things of that nature, onlookers, viewers, family members, of people that are not here.
In this particular case, all they said that they wanted was the opinions of those were actually part of building the scene. So he said musicians.
The fans he said musicians. Part of that?
He said musicians. That was the exact term he used. He said musicians. So when he said musicians, and then I see Rio Edwards and. Well, I can't say because Charlie Finn he was a musician himself, part of the original Hot Cold Sweat, and but down the line,
Conan, things of that people,
down the line, it was a couple of people that stood out that were not.
Oh, Cookie.
Yes,
I saw Cookie.
Yes, Miss Cookie, the booking manager for Kim and Scooby, or the dynamic duo, as they quoted them. So, with all that being said, look, let's get to some music real quick. We're gonna come back. And we're going to give y'all an opportunity. If you want to call in as well, 240-389-3397, 240-389-3397. Matter of fact, hold up. We got to put this in here because I'm mad I didn't do this from the beginning, but I'm so used to you not being here. So let me get this drop right here for us. Here we go. Yes.
You are live with the GoWIN radio show, hosted by Ms. Lady and Nico the Go-Go-ologist.
Shout out to my main man, Bootsy Vegas.
No BYB, 32RE, DC style. Hey, yo, hallelujah, kids, hear this. Gogo's in the building, we don't care if you diss. You can get your city going by the sound of my voice. Freak to it, turn it off, dog, whatever your choice. We're here on out, all that you need to know. That is Washington, D.C., G.O. Recognize the hot track, then jump in it. Pause, while your boy change the beat for a minute. Then watch the way I lizzy. I'm back up on the sizzing. You know what I'm busy, it ain't what it's sizzing. No, I didn't stizz up, I rolled to the tizz up. My flow's so tight, you can seal me with a zip up. Man, the situation ain't so complicated. I got love on both sides, ain't no need to debate it. But your boy got some more to say, cause the people bought my album, now you made my day. Cause I'm on the mic and I am the best, especially when I'm bumping and funky fresh. And all the ladies, they love me, especially when they smell I party with me, weekly with the L.I. Your boy E on the MIC, preferably prefer hanging out in DC. Your boy E, 32, Los and BYB, old school DC style.
Give me that beat, fool. It's my groove, and the whole city know how I do. It's a back tune, it's not a jack move. No so hold it smooth, that back dude. Man, I got the floor, what is you saying now? I'ma break them all, but the songs break them down. I'm in, wanna be rapping like, you don't know what that be like. Breaking on backwards like, hang with the mag tonight. Youngin' grind to the cash is right. So my youngins hitting bit. For my youngins in the bullpen. Ready? Good then. I'm a threat to they set. DC is what I rep. Every cat that I met. Look, if we ain't rule in the city, you tell me who in the city. I'm true to the city. Look, you grew in the city. You don't have a clue up in the city. Look, holla at us, man, if you up in the city. Cause through the city, man, I cruise with us. Yeah, youngins holla at me. Why is that? Riding out in they street. Hop in the Jeep. Hop in the Jeep while we potty with me and get that body to me. Riding with G's, probably could be finding. Look at me, I'm as fly as could be. Ride, I ain't the chain, keep bothering me. Look, I'm in the street with an hour in the corner. I'm trying to shine to the beat, Mama was born, D
hey, more heat than Shaq on the track. You know it's straight deuce with his head cocked back. E told him on a jogging for the beats. Hey, I make them sweat like heat in the streets. Hey, I get busy, y'all. Don't be surprised, I get busy, y'all. I rep the wickedest man alive. Like Jada Kiss, knock yourself out. Girl, act like J-Ho, pop your out. Well, I'm not trying to be your man. Pimp phones in my body. Meet me at the bar like a Doc like the Bugatti. Paparazzi's popping shots. Got my hand under the skirt, yeah, popping spots. I can't explain it no better. I got a long resume, it's tougher than leather. Will they ever break the code? Never. Anything I love, it's whatever. Post that like an article. Jack the Beats, 32E and Lil Los. She wanna spread them out on the back road. See, that's what they made Lincoln Navigators for. It's a flow that's a sickness. Find another track that burn like incense. Hey, where you at? The whole city behind us. Learn, I'ma make sure you get burned.
Hey ladies, y'all ready? Let's go. Relative Boss, hey Bonnie, Larry, let's go. Hey Big C, hey Tisha, hey, let's go. Hey gang, honeys, hey Janae, hey Clay Turds, hey Will, what's up, home? Hey, the way she pop it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she pop it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she pop it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she pop it, the way she clap it, the way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it. It's 6 Streets, huh? She twerk.
She's working.
She work.
She working.
She twerk.
She's working.
She work.
She working.
She twerk.
She's working.
She work.
She working.
Lady twerk. Watch her work. She twerk. She work. She twerk. She work. She twerk. She work. Hey, she twerk. She work. 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 She work. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, the way she clap it, I never seen her ass like that. The way she bounce it, Hey Saratoga honeys, she twerk, but she work, but she twerk, but she work, but she twerk, but she work.
This joint right here be cranking.
Twerk, but she work,
Shout out to Reason
but she
Band.
twerk, but she work,
You can check out Reason Band this Friday. This Friday.
but she twerk.
This Friday at the Paradigm. Opening up for new impressions. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was last night. I apologize. That's Middle Attraction opened it up for our new impressions. They opened up last night. I got a call. Check off on that.
It's 6 Streets, dropping low, girl.
Yeah.
Hey, housewife.
We got your back, Bootsy. We got your back, Bootsy.
Hey,
Shout out to all the Bounce Beat family out there. Here we go.
Oi. The Chopper City. They bumping guns. What it do, man? The 1A zone. They serve Toga honeys.
Shout out to my main man Butchie and Gino. Big Lou. Hey Lou, I got something for you. I got something for you, Big Lou. I don't know what y'all doing right now, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let me see y'all get down. Let me see y'all get down.
Sipping
sipping on.
Yeah.
Sipping on.
Shout out to Black Diamond, Big Lou, and the whole damn crew for doing the do.
Hey, Lou.
Yeah. You're listening to the Go Win Radio Show right here on GoGo Radio Live, Win DC Radio, all wrapped up in GoWin.media, coming to you live from the shops at Iverson.
I think most bands have a drink song. Would that be fair to say?
You know what? Well, you got to understand the environment that we work in.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Would that be fair to say that most of the
especially,
bands?
I definitely would have one if I'm getting a piece of the bar.
Oh, they ain't giving that up nowhere.
Hey, no, not necessarily. Depending on what type of band you are.
Not now.
Yeah, they want to hold on to that bar.
Man, you got people like Maria.
Oh yeah. No, we're not giving them no credit on this end. If they ain't taking care of this show, they don't get no kind of shout out. Shout out to all the bands that gave us music for this show and for our station, GoGo Radio Live and Win DC Radio, especially. Meathead. Speaking of music, I need some music, Meathead. You already know what it is. We talked the other day, so look out for me. And Big Lou, Big Lou shouting you out, Miss Lady. Yeah, that's what's up. He always been the ladies' man.
That's my guy.
Yeah, he's always been the ladies' man. Yeah,
that's my guy. It's not like that. That's like bruh.
Oh, hey, look, Southeast.
I know them, but
Yeah. Hey, that's Taj Mahal flavor right there.
Before Taj Mahal.
Okay. Well, hey, look. Shout out to the real. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Almost jumped out there. Anyway, I'm not gonna do that because that brother, he a good brother. He looked out for me too. So, but anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about earlier. We're talking about Straight Crankin', the Go-Go documentary that was shown last night at the Lincoln Theater, brought to you by 202 Creates. Miss Lady. Yeah. And for those who are just now tuning in, if you would like your opportunity and if you was there at the Lincoln Theater, please call in 240-389-3397, 240-389-3397, and give us your opinion of what you feel like should have been, what you loved, what you disliked, or what you was indifferent about. Just your opinion, period, of what you thought about the documentary last night. Let's go down further as far as the terms of the event. We got kind of stuck talking to Bootsy a little bit as far as what some of the people that participated in the documentary. They took some shots at Bounce Beat Go-Go. I personally didn't take it like that. I looked at it as and I understand where he's coming from.
I do too. I understand it.
And you and I champion this, this struggle a lot with on our show, on our platform.
What would a story be without someone's opinion?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I definitely understand it doesn't look good as far as saying when you're trying to uplift the genre of music, but that doesn't negate. I understand how he said they would feel, because if they would have said, grown and sexy, blah, if they'd have gave his opinion, like if they'd have interviewed him and he gave his opinion about the grown and sexy genre, you know what I'm saying, of go-go, and I'd have been like, and?
Well, I'm glad that's a great segue.
Mm-hmm.
So the common complaint that I've heard, and when we was there, when right afterwards, was that, and you made mention of it here as well, is you felt like a great chunk of this history of go-go was left out. And so it was explained. Once again, I'm gonna reference, and those of you who want to hear the interview, please, go to the just go into YouTube and put in your search bar the GoWIN Radio Show. And the last show that we recorded was with it's titled right now. I didn't go in there and change the title. It's titled with Curtis Johnson, who's also a guest on our show. But we had a call in from the director, writer, and producer of the documentary of Straight Crankin', Mr. Eugene Thorpe. And so once again, he told us this was the opinion of the musicians that was in the genre that he was covering for the documentary. And also, he said that that the way this story was going to be told, not only from their opinion, but also that he felt like that the story had not been told like this before, which, you know, I disagree with, and you do as well. I would like to get the opinion of others that were there, because when they started to go into, I just thought they took a little bit too much time in what they was, far as the storyline and into those opinions, and that's where I agree with Bootsy on, like, not necessarily them demonizing it, but just the storyline could have been pushed along a little bit quicker by staying strictly with certain facts.
Right, I believe. I
agree. And if you're gonna do it like that, then I think you could have got more of the story in. But when you dwelling on, and when you state, you know, the storyline was, he wanted it this way though. So that's why it's hard for me to argue with him, because that was his initial thought. When you dealing with a lot of people's opinions, as Bootsy kept putting it out there as, then it can get kind of convoluted, I believe. And so I felt that if it's, because it was a lot of stuff that I felt like the impression of what some of the rappers brought to Go-Go, that whole story was missing. From the Fat Rodney to the Rapping Reds, DC Scorpio was brought out there, but it wasn't, the story wasn't told far as how that all, because it was two big things. You know, they could have talked about how they talked to EU, or Sugar Bear, who represented EU, and he brought up the fact that they did a track with Salt and Pepper and they had the #1 track out with them. But I want to go back too far as, if you're going to talk about the storyline, let's talk about how rap was influenced with Go-Go and how that came along. How Party Time with Curtis Blow, who was one of the biggest rap stars at the time, did a track with EU, and that blew up. Or how Trouble Funk was the first go-go band to implement rap into go-go with Pump Me Up.
Right.
Which they played that and they talked about it, but they didn't really talk about how that song derived and the meaning of that song. You know, they talked about how it played within New York or within the hip-hop industry, but it didn't play, you know, as far as how that song was such a, you know, it was a landmark type of song.
Right.
So, and then you talked about the whole part of, far as, you know, the era of hip-hop, I mean, of go-go that was missing.
Like your Huckabucks and your Pure Elegance,
yes.
and your, you know, Northwest Youngins, and you
but
know,
it's been hard to. I can understand
just
in an hour and a half.
Just for somebody to go, you didn't have to, you know what I'm saying, say the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? For somebody to be like, you know, and then those nights, Sunday nights at the Apex, you know, blah, 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 you run down.
Right.
You will run down just to be up a mention.
But if you're going to do a documentary, why would you not highlight how some of the biggest songs in go-go came about?
Yeah.
From the CCBs and as you mentioned, Hucklebucks.
Only thing they did do was like the representative from what used to be, I guess, the radio station. He said pieces. He was basically what we've been saying all the time.
Yes,
he was just
Go-Go
saying,
needs five big hits.
Needs some hits.
Yes.
And he was like pieces.
Well, I mean, I'll mention his name because he's a friend of the radio show.
I just couldn't get it.
DJ Flex.
No. I wasn't talking about DJ Flex. I was talking about
well, Flex said what I said.
Right.
Go-Go needs 5 big hits.
But he said that the other gentleman I was speaking about saying that the last, you know, he was a radio exec. It said like TV.
Oh, Jay Stevens.
Yeah, Jay Stevens.
Jay Stevens,
yeah.
yes.
He was just saying, I mean, what have they done? You know, the last hit was pieces. You know,
yes, they got real rotation. They got rotation.
You know,
yes,
they got rotation.
And that's not necessarily true because CCB and them came after pieces.
When was this recorded though?
What? Oh no, this started.
When was his?
This started in January of this year.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, this is a 7-month project. This documentary was a 7-month project, started in January 2018.
Okay, so being a journalist that you are, is that enough time?
He said, one more time, well, no, I didn't say this before, but he said it was a 7-month project. No, it's a 2-year project that was done in 7 months.
Okay.
So I don't know how you want to take that.
2 years in the lab and then 7 months.
Actually, it could have been. I mean, to me,
recording.
a go-go documentary of this nature should have took 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, to do. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
You know,
especially with the old stuff, because that's not gonna change.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you're gonna
that's
if you're gonna get it like
That's
somebody, I will speak for my station. Somebody that looks into the history of go-go and very proud of it, and to be proud to be a part of the fabric of the history of go-go.
Right.
Myself, there's a lot of things that I would have liked to see dropped in it. It didn't have to be focused.
Right, definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
just to be mentioned because of
That's
something
all I was
because as Bootsy made this mention earlier, the influence of something of this nature, the very first documentary that has been co-signed by the go-go community, obviously because they participated in it, by many members of the go-go community, or several. It has a huge influence on a lot of different people, especially those who want to know about go-go. So that story, you know, the story of a lot of important people, as Bootsy mentioned once again, was lost. And so, but they said, you know, it's hour and a half, so hard to put all the information in there. But as I spoke on earlier, if some of that stuff could have been streamlined out, I think, you know, some of those mentions could have been made in there. If you have an opinion, one more time, 240-389-3397, 240-389-3397, and tell us what you think. With that side being missing, the grownest I thought was the biggest thing when they started talking about Maisha and the Hip Huckers and how they started the grown and sexy circuit. But it came off of them saying, hold up, we forgot to talk about the ladies in go-go.
It came with, don't leave, don't leave,
Yes,
don't leave,
yes.
don't leave, don't leave, because they turned the lights on. They, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, I don't know. It was like it was an afterthought.
Well, let me clarify for those.
Once they got into it, it was
those,
okay,
For
but-
those, well, I didn't think it was okay.
I'm just saying, once they got into it, it was at least acknowledgement.
This is my biggest knock of the whole night, was the representation of women, because I made mention of this to, you know, one of the people that was part of the project, who helped influence the project. If we're going to show the growth of the music, not only are we going to talk about how it's changed or the forms of it has changed, but how the people in it has helped progress it.
Right.
And one of the key people that help progress it are the women, who've always been the backbone of the black culture,
Right.
or the African culture.
Right.
All right. So if you're not going to give the women a more prominent part in that, then what they showed was, in this particular case, they came and said, we're not going to forget about the women.
Yeah.
And so they spoke on pleasure.
Spoke to two women out of the whole
No,
documentary.
well, who's two?
KK.
Oh, yes, KK.
But not even in that aspect.
No, they didn't. No,
They spoke to her
Yes,
about her dad,
right,
you know, but not
right.
even in that aspect as being a woman inside of the genre.
So the only
you know,
one they spoke with
was
and
Sweet Cherie.
is Sweet Cherie,
Yeah.
and kudos to Sweet Cherie. She's
Yeah.
well deserving.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I spoke with Sweet Cherie afterwards,
okay.
and she said herself, "Hey, why didn't they talk to Michelle Blackwell or Miss Kim? That they should have been involved. You know, certain people involved, just to show the growth of the music and how prominent black women are in our genre, which is really a close niche genre. So, because back in the day, I remember you had
Precise.
well, no, I'm going back.
Oh,
back.
you're going back. Oh, you're
Yes,
just
yes. Because
people
like
inside of the
they
band.
showed
They showed the Hot Cold Sweat.
right,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of people didn't know who that was,
Uh-huh.
and that was Miss Candy, who was
Mm-hmm.
one of the most. Hey, we used to fall out on Candy when
Mm-hmm.
Candy came out. Oh my God, we used to love us some Candy. Like how some of you guys right now be looking at Miss Kim.
Right.
Candy was way before that.
Where's Candy now?
I don't know.
You
I would love to find out, because I'm telling you, we used to look at her. We used to look at her like we used to look at Thelma at Good Times.
Okay.
That's I think that's a great
So you
analogy.
need to find Candy.
Yeah.
That's
No,
your
I
task.
don't. No, I don't.
No,
Because
I'm just saying,
I'm a
as far
married
as
man
what-
now.
Nah, I
I
ain't
don't need to
talking about
find
like
Candy.
that. Find Candy.
Candy,
For-
stay where you at, baby.
For those purposes, like the documentary the makers couldn't find her, so somebody find Candy, man. Anybody know Candy? Do anybody know Candy? We looking for Candy, man. We
Hey,
looking for Candy.
Lisa the World says, well, no, at first it was mentioned
They
by
need a Hall of
Gino
Fame.
that we need a Hall of Fame.
That was not Gino. That's not Gino.
Gino didn't say that?
That's not Gino. It says Jani Cook.
Where you at? They said we need a Hall of Fame? I could
Go
swap.
needs a Hall of Fame. Jani Cook.
Okay, I apologize. I thought that was you, Gino. I must have scrolled incorrectly. So, and Lisa the World says we do have a Hall of Fame. Lisa, please correct me if I'm wrong. I do not believe we do have a true Go-Go Hall of Fame. We have fractures of what people deem to be a Go-Go Hall of Fame, but we do not have a Hall of Fame. In any, whether you have a music genre, sport, or whatever the case may be, you have a board that puts together what is accused as a Hall of Fame.
Right.
So right now we have certain, we got an entity over here that said they have the Hall of Fame. We have an entity over here that said they're doing the Hall of Fame.
Like the Go-Go Awards, this person
Right,
put
right.
it on. The Go-Go Awards, that person put it on.
And we still have the infighting about who has the right to that.
Right.
Okay, and I don't know if you know all of that. I do know the backstory to all of that, and if you want to talk about it, we could talk about it later, but we're not going to use this platform at this time to talk about it. But there's a lot of going on behind it, so I'm going to just tell you now, we do not have a true Hall of Fame. So, and as we've always have been, we've been fractured and splintered for years, and we can't come together on certain things, and that's why a documentary of this ilk is so important. And that's why we're so passionate about it and want it to be done right.
Jose Heartbeat made one.
Right. And you made my point for me. Heartbeat made a Go-Go Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
He made a Hall of Fame. If you don't remember, and I worked on the board of the Go-Go Hall of Fame myself, so I can speak of that. That was done with Ronald Moulton and Jahar when they was doing the Go-Go Awards for several years. For several years, I was part of that.
That's a task that maybe the Chuck Brown Foundation should.
I definitely agree with that.
Spearhead.
Yes,
And
I definitely
and nobody else.
I definitely agree with that.
Because I mean, no shade to Heartbeat, but.
And I spoke with Heartbeat last night. Shout out to Heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
That's my brother. No matter what you may hear out in the streets, because the streets will talk. And even if he has said something negative, I'm gonna say it from my heart. That's my brother. I love him to death. I love his contribution. Matter of fact, he made a great contribution in the documentary last night.
Definitely.
A huge contribution.
Definitely.
And so shout out to him on that.
He was a big part of that.
Yes,
like
he was.
They talked to him
He was a
several
huge part of
times.
it. Yes.
Yeah, he was a big part of that.
And so, but like that, my point, you making my point for me, Lisa. The fact is that Heartbeat has what he has, or he's put together what he's put together, and he has a certain amount of people behind him doing what he's doing, and there's other people, that feel like, I don't know what the hell is going up in here today. There's a little Africa up in this joint today. I tell you. Like I'm Tarzan up in this joint. But anyway, so let's get off of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But no, just to answer that, is Boss Lady from different. Okay. Thank you, Janny. Okay, I got you. He's the only one to look out for the bands. Okay. Well, like I said, Lisa, I think Mo and Jahar will disagree with you on that. And a lot of people don't, like I said, a lot of people don't know the backstory to that. And I definitely do. And I have to actually disagree with you on that because they've done the same as well. And I don't know. Yeah, I definitely know they've done the same as well. So I cannot throw them no kind of shade on that. But like I said, and Heartbeat, matter of fact, Heartbeat started doing what he was doing when he was on Go-Go Radio. Matter of fact, we did the live broadcast when he gave the award for Sugarfoot Ricky, as well as Funk on my station, as well as Bugs when we did it live at Beer for You. So So I definitely know what his contributions were as far as that. But like I said, it's been splintered for a long time. Matter of fact, we go back before that, and I can't remember the brother's name that did the Go-Go Awards at the Crampton Auditorium where I was at. Lisa, were you at that one? Please let us know. Were you at the Go-Go Awards at the Crampton Auditorium in 91?
I was not. I'm going to tell you that right
in 91.
I'm going to tell you that
let me tell you.
I know I wasn't.
They were talking, hey, they was doing it back then. A lot of people don't know back
who was
then.
that?
I can't remember the brother's name. He's also he was the editor for the initial paper. Now I remember, and I was at remember I told you I was at the thing with Mr. Hammond and Natalie.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the name of the paper was Straight from the Street. And I can remember his name. Me and Mo Shorter, we talk about the brother. I believe his name is Malcolm Denton, if I remember correctly. Please don't quote me. Please don't quote me, but I believe his name was Malcolm Denton. And he did the initial Go-Go Awards, as well as he had the paper called Straight from the Street that covered the go-go music scene back then.
Did you check out the table? That was
yes.
Any of
that was the
literature?
same table that was at that event that I did.
Was any of that literature on the table?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. So, oh no, you talking about the one I'm speaking of?
No, the one that.
Oh, Straight from the Street.
Yeah.
No, that's. But I like to find that online somewhere.
It was something on the.
They had a couple
of.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to look at.
Along
it.
with a
Was,
rare essence shirt, they had some paraphernalia on there.
I would say it was so cramped. I didn't really get a chance to.
Yeah. He needed a bigger table.
Okay.
he needed a much bigger table. Okay. So back to the documentary. I think a big chunk of it is the story. Okay, no, let's back to the women.
Right.
Back to the women. Sweet Cherie, who was quoted in it, felt like there should have been more voices from the women, if not just a couple more women.
Right.
She was kind of solo. And like she was the only woman to represent females in go-go, and
they showed the only clip they showed versus only like they showed the pleasure one,
and Belladonna.
Yeah, and Belladonna,
and that was it.
And they have SOS, they have Precise.
Now you just all female bands.
I'm just saying, but
we're not just talking about this. Talking about women
in the genre.
Contributions to the genre. Period.
That is how we are portrayed. Like we were null and void until there was pleasure. And then there was a gap, and then, Precise and Pleasure. Then there was a gap, and then Belladonna brought us back. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not looked at as contributions to the bands. We're looked at as we're only a contribution if we're a whole band full of women. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And yeah, that's right. So that point, that should have been clarified.
Right.
That definitely should have been clarified.
Because it was like women can rock too,
Right.
But it's like as a whole, like we've been rocking.
Right.
Like they showed the clip of, just like you said, the Lady Candy, but they never mentioned.
And you asked me about who was the young lady who was playing with Lil Benny.
Yeah.
Back in the with Essence.
Yeah, but not Michelle and the Gail Cello. I wasn't talking about her. I was talking about the young lady that was singing. It wasn't Red Essence.
I must have missed it.
It was. I was asking you about Candy, but I was like,
that's what you was asking about.
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
Candy. I know who Michelle is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was asking, but
Candy was a heartthrob.
Even as a if it wasn't a vocalist, it said you had Michelle and the Gail Cello. You know what I'm saying?
Well, she had some songs too. She used to have this song called "Who's That Knocking at the Door," and that joint used to rock. She used to play that with Essence.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm just saying.
And she played with Lil Benny in the Masters
for people
as well.
that don't know, they don't know that information, and that type of information needs to be shared.
You got the female vocalist with Mass Extension back in the day, who's a family member.
They were not mentioned until Sweet Cherie said something.
Yeah.
I mean, so they brought her out, Brought her out.
Hey, shout out to Butchie Farrell.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. A 10-season show of straight cranking. That would be the only way to get the real story out. And you can focus on the lady bands, lady bands. No, you can focus on the women and their contribution to go-go, period. Promoters, soundmen, venue, crime, or clothes, how each band got started, etc. Who is Candy and who does she play with, Nico? Hako Sweat.
Yeah. Thank you. Who said that?
Louis.
Louis, you didn't know that? Come on, Louis. Anyway, but no, Louis, you're not that old. I'm sorry, Louis. That is my age range.
I mean,
Louis about 10 years younger than me, so I gotta give him that.
But for Louis wouldn't have known, but Louis should know that they did have a female, because I knew that. You know what I'm saying? Just by listening to the cassette tapes and things.
I got my thing. got your thing.
Candy did not sound like that.
No, I hope not. I hope not. She'd been out the band with the quickness.
Right. Candy looked good according to you.
Hey,
so that's why-
Charlie ear might be bad now, but it wasn't bad back then.
But
Sounds to my baby.
But how we going now? Like some would say that long as she looked good, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and she looked good.
Right.
She looked good.
So
Stamped.
Danny
Yeah.
said, how
It's
about
4
someone
o'clock.
build a board meeting with all the go-go greats and family to put together a list of the band's pictures, music, and interviews, secure a venue downtown, and make it for Go-Go Hall of Fame only, event center, just like a museum. So, Louis, you are not younger than both of us.
Yeah.
You
both of
in
you.
his
Both
head,
of y'all.
in his head. Okay,
Paul.
okay.
Yeah. So look, I think these are some great suggestions here. And
But I mean, honestly, just like I said, I think something like that of that caliber, the Chuck Brown film. Other than, I mean, we do have a mention in the African American, museum.
right.
There's a like a the
We on the
music
corner.
room.
We on the corner.
In the music room. You
Yeah.
in it. You
Yeah,
in the
we
playlist.
on the corner.
Like you can scroll through and see like CD that's album cover. It's amazing. For you to say, like my son went on a field trip there with his school, and he made sure that he went up into the music room. Was like, "That's my dad. That's my dad." And they was like, "No, it ain't. No, it ain't." And then he had to pull up a picture in his cell phone and all that. So it's
That's nice.
Yes, I mean it's awesome that you're in. I'm in the museum.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And shout out to Cal.
I mean, I'm not in the museum, but
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying for somebody to say anybody that is, you know what I'm saying? But I can say my music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Music that I help create, music that I help, endure, contributed to, it's in a museum.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Cal, indirectly. But when I saw Cal, the first thing I thought of are the Fat Rodneys, the Stinky Dinks.
Yeah.
They had Scorpio in there, but
Yeah.
they spoke of Scorpio more so of his contribution to Go-Go Live.
Go live, yeah.
Not to the culture of the music
Not to the
itself,
culture.
and even how his whole situation arrived. They did talk about the $55 motel.
Right.
I'm not $55 motel, but Stone Cold Hustler, his track that was huge in the go-go community. But as soon as I see Cal, I think of those before him. And if you're giving a go-go documentary, it should be something leading up to Cal.
He would just,
You know-
him and Scooby just didn't. They didn't. They both talked to them, and it was no. You know what I'm saying? Just like
Right.
you said, it was no
It was
segue to nothing
Right,
else. It was just
right.
like, they're just talking
Yeah, this
to
how the
someone.
Scooby. Yeah.
Yeah, to give their opinion.
And
I-
another great segue.
Yeah, and how they mentioned everybody. So I noticed how they mentioned everyone. So they would say, Go-Go Mickey, Rare
Right.
Essence, Team Familiar.
Right.
So for a lot of people, they didn't do that. They only put, like for Cal, they only put Rare Essence. For Scooby,
Right.
they only put Dynamic Duo. You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
didn't put.
They didn't put their background.
They didn't
as far as
put
where
their,
they
like,
started
where they
and all
came
of that.
from.
Right.
But they did that to a couple of other people.
Right.
Like they,
Well, they could have with Mickey. They could have did all the bands he been with, like Rare Essence,
I mean,
Reds
but-
and the
I
Boys,
mean,
and all
but-
of that reality. But yeah, but like with Cal, and see that, and that goes to the point where I was just getting ready to go to like certain segments. Like, how can you not mention the influence that What Band had in the era of go-go?
You should not have done that.
The influence of What Band is undeniable.
You should not have done
But
that.
on top of that,
Listen.
the whole, now you just listen to whole real Grown and Sexy, which they did touch on it. They
Yeah.
touched on how
From
it was
Maisha,
derived
from
through
Maisha,
Maisha and the
right.
Hip
But
Huggers.
then they went to
they
women.
they told a good story about how
Yeah.
Maisha and the Hip Huggers came about. I thought it was too long, actually,
Right.
because yes, they were, as Cherie mentioned, they were working 7 days a week.
Right.
But so were the bands that came after them. There was headline bands
Right.
like Subtle Thoughts that came after them. And then after Subtle Thoughts, you had Listen.
Right.
You know, Listen was, it's nowhere in the world.
But they talked about Maisha on the level of grown and sexy. They kind of merged the grown and sexy with the woman.
Yes. Yes.
So they put them two in the same bag.
Well,
It was like,
yes, because it
when
came.
we're gonna talk with the women, we're gonna talk about grown and sexy.
Well, yes, because that whole conversation or that
Yeah.
whole it transferred from the women to the grown and sexy,
Right.
which Maisha started, as they stated.
And even Cherie said, I don't know who came up with the name, but thank you.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes,
But
yeah.
but thank you.
No, they said they should have made a lot of money off
Yeah,
that
yeah,
name.
she said it paid my bills.
Yeah.
Grown and sexy done paid my bills. So shout out to you, E.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, hey, look, what else? I mean, they kind of closed with that. The most touching part for me personally was the tribute they did to Ivan Goff.
Yeah.
That was very touching
that almost
for me.
made me cry.
Yeah, that was very touching.
But my thing was, if you're gonna do that, just that, like, what made you pick that one particular person? You know what I'm saying? Because there were like,
Yeah,
you didn't
they
tell
could have leaned on BJ like that, real heavy.
I was going to say that. You know
They
what I'm saying?
they could have did just the same for BJ.
He had a story
'Cause
too.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, his contribution was great also.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess, BJ he was a contributor to a lot of
Yes,
music and records,
yes.
and if they was gonna do that, they could have definitely talked about Mike Hughes.
Yes.
You definitely could talk about him because Mike Hughes was an absolute genius, as well as Ivan Goff was.
yeah.
But for me, that was super touching.
It was
super touching the way they
was.
portrayed that.
It was, and the other
Because my main man Dave, who's the guitarist,
with the locks.
yes, that's Dave. Who's played with? He's actually the lead guitarist for Trouble Funk right now. He plays with EU from time to time as well. He told a very touching story.
He did.
How
He
how
did.
he came, and you could see the tear.
You saw
right
it.
on the side.
You saw it.
You know, so
They zoomed in.
Yeah, they had the high def on
But
that.
it
joint.
was another thing that was touchy for me is I almost cried. I almost did it when they played the voicemail.
Oh yeah, for
that
Chuck
Brown.
Yes,
I've
and
heard
Rico's played it for me.
Yeah, he's played it before.
Yeah,
I've heard it. If you are a friend of Rico's, then you've heard the voicemail before.
Right,
You know,
right.
and it chokes me up every time. But even when he got choked up on screen, it was just like reliving the whole episode again.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? To
right.
hear, and he didn't hear the voicemail until after the fact.
But you know what made me mad?
Well,
Go Radio had one of Chuck's last interviews, and we had Chuck on the Blend Show. Shout out to Boosie Vegas again, D Money, and Nika Ray. For 2 hours, talking straight. And I actually sat down with Chuck an hour in his car prior to him entering into the building. We just sat and we just talked about the old days. And we got that interview. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just felt a certain kind of way. Like
I mean,
it's a lot of stuff.
They
It's-
didn't reach out to you to do.
Well, no,
talk,
it was just
so,
a lot.
I mean,
It was
how
just a
would
lot
they
of
even
stuff.
know? They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know.
Yeah, because we had a very, very in-depth interview with Chuck, as we had with everybody in this whole go-go community.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not
why
a
would you
person-
not reach out to Go Radio?
Well,
you know what I'm. No,
It had to be.
No.
They had their reasons.
Oh, okay.
They had their reasons,
Okay,
obviously.
All right. I mean, it's just a common question. Like if you go into somebody's city and you don't know, you know what I'm saying, where to go, and you like, hey, I'm in Jamaica. Where do I go to hear some good reggae music? And it's a radio station called Reggae All the Time. Where you think you gonna go? You know what I'm saying? Well, who on the radio stay reggae all the time? I gotta go reggae all the time because even if it's the wrong place, somebody gonna tell you where to go,
Yeah.
like. How you
Well,
doing?
I mean, like I said, what the excuse that was told to me is that they wanted the musician's point of view. I'm not a musician, and so I wasn't included. So be it. I have to take it for what it is, And honestly, at the end of the day, and I said this to somebody who reached out to me earlier this morning, and I greatly appreciate it. A lot of people say, matter of fact, even Heartbeat himself came up to me. I mean, you should have been in that joint. To me, it's not about me. Wait a minute.
I understand.
When I put,
even your words, like, and even if you were in the background, even if they didn't put a camera on your face, somebody should have like talked to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot to contribute.
well,
you know what I'm saying?
One thing I
Could have filled in the blank.
One thing I feel is when I decided to bring GoGo Radio, which was already a streaming entity,
Right.
and I wanted to make it live. My whole point was for it to be about the people in the culture.
Right.
I believe I had that first idea more so than anybody else. Because I said, if we're going to do it, it has to be from the voices of the go-go community instead of other people trying to tell our story.
Yeah, tell it.
Which is
Mo Shorter is a musician?
No.
Oh, I didn't think so.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying I didn't think so. Because I'm like, did I miss that? That would have been a piece
He did write the word.
Yeah, but that would have been a piece of information that I'd have like, damn, Mo played the bass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out if I missed that.
But
honestly.
with that being said, I feel like at the end of the day, I wanted to be, because I never really wanted to be a host.
Right.
You know, myself, because I always wanted the people within the community, to do this. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
The man behind the plan.
Yeah. So, sit back. I always wanted to play my little Russell Simmons, so to be,
Right.
and have my Run DMC out there doing,
Right.
Doing what they need to do.
And I know we kind of got off of it, but the women and how much they held and still hold in this genre of music. And I know we were talking off the air about a week or two ago, and we were talking about it goes back to slavery, Jim Crow's law, and, our men being beaten in front of the women thinking that, being taken away from their families and saying that they can still survive and make it. They had to be, per se, the man of the house because they didn't have, there was no man. So when it relates to the go-go community, I know we spoke about how some of the greatest managers stem from women managing the bands. That's what I said. And it was more of a family. And I said, it was more of a family when the women, you was like, look. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
go down the list of names.
Yeah, you go down the list of names, and which Andre did that.
That's
you know what I'm saying, in the documentary. And you go down the list of the names, and some of the great bands were spearheaded and held together by women because that's what we do.
Yep.
Just like you said, we the backbone of it all. We keep it together. And when you make it a family environment, like with the Northeast Groovers and the Rare Essence, when you make it a family environment, it seems to, have the longevity. Mm-hmm. Until it's no longer ran by a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it'll fail all the time. I'm not saying men don't do a good job, because Mo Shorter, shout out to Mo. Like, oh yeah, like he's like I love Mo. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love Mo. So it's just like the woman just holds more weight out there, people out there in TV world and documentary world, go-go world, we hold a lot of weight. We as women hold a lot of weight in this genre, and it should be well documented and, appreciated.
Well, they weren't in this particular documentary. So that's my biggest gripe of it. And I'm not a woman, but I know if I wanted to show the growth of the music, there's a couple things I would have to show. Those three things. One, I would streamline a lot of the stories and have, because I thought it went back and forth a little too much. Yeah. From different points of views. Some of the opinions overlaid each other. Yeah. And that wasn't necessary. And if you wanted to cut time, that's where you cut the time at. Yeah. And you have to add in a better story of the women. Yeah. The women's contribution, that is. Right. All right. You have to add in a healthier part of the bounce beat segment and their contribution, which Booty was heavy on, and I agree with them 100% on.
Definitely.
And you have to show the growth of the Grown and Sexy, which re-infused the economic part of the go-go situation. Right. Yeah. Other than TCB, Grown and Sexy changed the market as well. Yeah. Because TCB brought a whole new dynamic to the situation.
You talked to Donnell, but he didn't talk about
his band. at all, which he changed from a cranking band to where grown is sexy.
Yeah.
You know, that whole development wasn't shown, touched upon, or nothing like that. Right. So, and we're not trying to break this thing down. We're just saying what we would add to it to make it healthy.
Would have liked to see,
right.
You know? Yeah.
Right. And we're giving you the opportunity to call in, which we're getting ready to get up out of here now.
Yeah.
So we'll take one last call. If you want to call in before we get up out of here, 240-389-3397 and give your opinion. We'll gladly hear it. Shout out to Lou and Butchie. I love your comment right here. It's hard to get. Yeah, and this is what said by the director / writer / producer Eugene Thorpe. He said that it's hard to get that into a 90-minute documentary, which he definitely said. A 10-series TV show on DC Channel will work. Make it happen. Yeah, I wish I could, because that means I'd be getting some of that 202 Creates money.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, Butcher, you saying like, I mean, you're on a DC channel, that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But it's a story that needs to be seen for all that's interested, you know, so... I mean, don't just conform it to the.
Well, I mean, they backing it financially. Yeah, it's gonna be on their platform.
Yeah, definitely, no problem. You know, no problem. But he's saying like have it only seen. It's gonna be on in Maryland also. You know what I'm saying? Because they had the stations listed as far as on Comcast. It's gonna be channel 16. You know, things of that nature. But I'm just, you know how people think big. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just an optimist. You know what I'm saying? I'm just an optimist. Like basically, like you can go. It should be able to go in the library and rent the DVD.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Something like that.
He did say in the interview, and I don't know if this, because I actually asked him again, asked this question again last night. He said in an interview when I talked to him Thursday, they were going to be putting this on YouTube and breaking it down into portions, in 30-minute portions. Okay. So if you do it like that. If he does it like that, then that's giving it to the world.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because there's no bigger a visual platform in the world than YouTube. All right, so when you do it like that, then everybody.
But I figured it like just like how Butchie just broke it down. Like it's just like a TV series where you be like, you know, when Scandal went off, you was like, oh man, I gotta wait till next season.
Right.
I gotta wait till, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't stop there. You know, shout out to 202. You know what I'm saying? Just shout out. Like, take this and take the good with the bad, you know what I'm saying, the sweet with the sour, and create.
Well, one thing, and shout out one more time to our man Fat Doc from Black Passion. One thing that we are grateful for is that they kicked down the barrier.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason.
Kick down the door, waving the what? Like, that's your favorite
Don't get me started. But they kicked down the barrier to hopefully open up the door, the mental door, the third eye door of our people. Say, look, stop waiting on other people to tell our story. This man, yes, he took the initiative. He says, you know, he's been here most of his life. And I'm talking about Eugene Thorpe. And it was his brainchild. He got the funding to do it. If nobody else did it, be quiet. Do it yourself. You know, but I shouldn't say no. I take that back. Don't be quiet, because we all have opinions and we have the rights. We are in America, so we have the rights to share our opinions. So with that being said, any last thoughts on the documentary before we get out of here?
I enjoy myself. I mean, you know how they say it's a day wasted if you don't learn a thing. I learned, you know what I'm saying? I learned like 2 weeks worth of stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I counted by days. I learned a lot. It was good to see. It was good to see.
I'm looking forward to seeing it again, because a lot of it I couldn't hear. Yeah, I missed a lot.
I can't wait till it comes on TV.
With people talking or clapping
and clapping when certain people came on. Yeah.
So, and that's you know, I missed a lot.
But it reminded me of like in school when you have like your favorite person come at the talent show and you like and then when the person like the geek come on doing something, you like. You're not booing, but it's not as loud. Or at a honor roll assembly when the smart people go and they be like, they smart.
Who was the biggest applause for it that you heard last night? Was showed on
Chuck Brown.
Chuck was the biggest?
To me, Chuck Brown and Big G.
Big G.
Yeah, Chuck Brown and Big G.
All right.
Yeah, Chuck Brown and Big G. Yep.
All right, and I'm asking all y'all this too, so y'all can comment right here on the Windy C Radio Live Facebook page. Give us your opinions of these questions too. Who was the biggest? Who left the biggest impression on you when you watched a documentary through all interviews?
Cow, man. It's like, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The biggest impression was I don't want to say biggest impression, but he added character to it, was DJ Flex. I mean,
Right.
he was hilarious. I mean,
Yes.
he everybody knows he's always loud. So
Right.
everything, they would come in, they would ask a question. Somebody else would answer a question, and then it would be like, oh, they must have asked that. He was like, it was bad, or you know what I'm saying. So it's like he had a lot of energy.
A lot of charisma.
Yeah, he had a lot of energy.
charisma.
Rico did a good job narrating.
Yes.
The part that he narrated.
Yes.
He did a good job. Shout out to Rico for having
What-
that subliminal t-shirt made by yours truly, saying
And Rico did the whole thing without saying young.
young. You know what I'm saying?
I was shocked. He didn't say young one time. I wonder how many takes it
oh,
took.
he ain't say, let's be clear.
You know what I'm saying, young?
At the end of the day, let's be clear.
Where's 32 when I need him right now? He does the best Rico imitation.
Yeah, shout out to Rico.
So yes, DJ Flex was definitely very impression.
Yeah.
I really liked him. Who else? Because I want to talk about all the good things that we saw. Other than far as the musicians, who did you really learn the most from?
Rio. I mean, he's not even,
Yeah.
but I learned the most. He had the most.
Did you see the
information.
title they gave Rio, which I didn't know?
Manager of
No, the
what?
creator of Trouble Funk.
Yeah, I saw that, but you didn't
Yeah.
know that either.
I knew he had a lot to do with it. I didn't know he
right.
was the creator of Trouble Funk.
Yeah, no.
So when I saw that made me curious, and that was one of the things that Mr. Thorpe said, that if I can have just one person's, or you're watching a documentary, and I can just have you say one time, you know what, I didn't know that. Then he
Yeah.
felt like he did his job.
Oh yeah, he did his job with me.
Yeah.
He did his job with me, because I was just like, and there's a lot of people like the gentleman. They talked to him, but I cannot remember his name. Why nobody works with the sound man? The European guy with the cornrows.
Biondi.
I really couldn't hear when he was talking
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
the applause and things in the back. Like, what was his contribution to?
Oh,
like,
he had the #1 studio for back in the day. What was mixed? Chuck Brown's Live at Crystal Skate was mixed there. Sticky D's One Track Mind was done there.
So does he still? I mean, it looked like he was in this. I don't know if it was his studio.
Well, everybody was in somebody's
Yeah,
studio.
yeah,
So
but,
from what I understand, they was invited into certain studios, like like Backyard. They went to their practice studio and interviewed them.
Okay.
So Chris might have been in his studio. They might have came to them. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I saw people in different studios. They wasn't all
Right.
the same. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm
Right.
like, does he still?
Because Floyd
have-
was in the studio when they
Yeah,
interviewed him.
does he still have a And
Oh,
all
Chris-
that could have been done on green screen too. So we just never know.
Yeah, but I think they was in the actual studios. Did Chris still have his? I do
That's what I'm
not
saying,
know.
like,
I would think so.
But was he an actual sound engineer? As
Oh,
far
yeah.
as in the
Oh,
go-go?
yes.
Or just in the
Well, not in no
That's what I was saying,
not
in the
live.
go-go.
No, he was
Okay,
studio.
only studio.
Yeah, studio.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because matter of fact, Rio did the mix on Go-Go Swing, live, Crystal Skate Live. Well, it was called Chuck Brown Live, but it was
Okay.
live at Crystal Skate.
So, but
And everybody knows it for the Go-Go Swing and.
he did the at the event.
Yes, Rio
mixed
did.
it. Okay.
Yes,
But he mixed it
Rio was part of some of the biggest situations ever in go-go. Far as he worked with Trouble, like he said, the inception of Trouble, Chuck Brown, Northeast Groovers, backyard band. I mean, he's worked with all the major bands.
Yeah.
All the major bands. You know,
So
in
yeah,
some
that's
way
what
or
I'm saying. So he had
some shape,
that's what
form,
I'm saying.
fashion.
He was very informative. I think he was the kind of like the most informative for me. You know, for me, I would have liked a little bit more on, like, when they were telling the story about Max Kidd and the other. I would have liked more information as far as
They should add his brother in it.
That's what I was saying. So if he's not here, well, I know he's not here because he's deceased, but get a family member or a business partner,
his
or
brother,
his wife,
I knew,
or somebody that you know. That
his brother was taking him around in his last days.
Okay.
I met him. I talked to him. So his brother, or had my man Ian in there, who was here interviewed, who worked with Max extensively.
Right.
You know, worked with his company. He was Max's right hand man.
Right.
So you could have had him
So
in
that's
there.
what I was saying.
I would have definitely had him in
for
there.
somebody. Like most people know Chuck's story, but like
no, most people
no,
don't.
I'm just saying in this genre, no, you know, he's the Godfather.
Right, right.
But we're not saying like came from North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it should have been a representative. You know what I'm saying? Son or, you know,
You talking about for Max?
no, from anybody that's not here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Polo, his mother. You know what I'm saying? Or they had
Well,
Willow.
now-
They had Willow.
Right,
But,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, people that can tell you that.
And Bo.
Yeah, I'm just saying as far as the management side of it, you know,
Right.
well, you know, Willow, as far as the management side, and Bo still, you know, operates it. But it's just like, if you're not here anymore, people, and if you're going to say something about it, then have somebody to kind of like co-sign. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't tell, I'm not going to tell the regular person the insides and all. I might discuss with you, and you could legitimately say, well, Tasha not here no more, so... You know, I know we've had conversations on the outside of, you know, what you guys hear. You know what I'm saying? So it's outside of the known, you know, somebody that can kind of co-sign and stuff, you know, for the people that's not here. So that's all I would say, you know, in addition to that, you know.
Well, it's, what's this? Oh.
It's
It's 5 billion
right,
Chuck stories out
Chuck
there.
Brown stories out
I
there.
hear you, bro. Yes, there is. And if you knew Pop, then you probably had your own personal story with
Yeah,
him.
and, I mean, they didn't even tell the story about, you know, he went to, you know, prison and
Right.
learned to play the guitar.
Right.
You know, he traded the.
I'm sure they told the story the family wanted him to tell.
Yeah, but he tells that story. He told Chuck
Yeah,
Brown
no.
told that story.
Yeah, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's like it's not a fact that, you know, that is a hidden, you know, it's something hidden or something like
Right,
that.
right.
He prides himself on that. You know, hey,
Yeah.
I
He
did
came.
something wrong.
He came from nothing to
Yeah.
be who he is.
Yeah. So
Just like Mayor Barry.
yeah,
God rest his soul.
yeah.
You know. So
Mayor for life, ain't that
yeah,
coming
how
out?
about that? It should.
There's a story coming out.
Oh,
Mayor
is
for
it?
Life. Yeah, it's a stage play. I think
A
Lavelle.
stage play?
I think Lavelle.
What? Oh, watch out now.
Yeah, Mayor for life. It was on the back of the
Oh, and shout out to the Giz whole team for coming out. They was there supporting as well.
Yeah.
They was in there doing their thing.
It was the back of the bill, the bill, the playbill. At the
Okay.
Giz, Mayor for life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. That's gonna be heavy. I wonder who they gonna get to play.
You want to play Marion Barry?
Nah. I'm good. Bitch set me up. So, hey, look, we getting ready to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you tune in this Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2. You kind of like this time, though. I know you like this time. We might have to move our slot.
I don't know. It's school back in. School back in. I don't
Oh, that's
know.
right. You got to head back.
Yeah,
you gotta
they
get back.
already.
Get back to the
My
youngest.
son that called me 3 times. Mom, hey, I just want to check on you. Are you okay? Yes, son.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. So
okay.
we getting ready to get up out of here. Make sure you tune in tonight to Let's Be Clear. To the ladies of Let's Be Clear, they'll be in here from 6 to 8 p.m. on WIN DC Radio. And also after that, you got Foreplay to Eargasm with Hot Toddy, Miss Lollipop, and my main man Showtime doing their thing from 8 to 10 p.m. on WIN DC Radio. On the Go Radio side, we're going to have that crank popping for you, so make sure you tune in right then. All right? Any last-minute shout-outs, Miss Lady?
Shout out to my girlfriend 25 and her family. She was one of my roommates and friends from good old Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. We went to school together, and she was murdered last year by her boyfriend, and he was given 30 years yesterday. So shout out to her family, man, and for justice being served finally. And you know, some things don't go our way, but this one indeed, you know, went the way of the family, went the way of the, you know, the right way. And make sure y'all get all y'all supplies, y'all bread and butter, y'all peanut butter and jelly, everything, your canned goods, y'all pork and beans. Oh, and yeah. The hurricane's supposed to be coming, so make sure y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna be here Thursday, Nico, because if the hurricane.
Well, they saying it's not really supposed to hit till Friday.
Okay.
So you telling me you might go shopping real heavy on Thursday? You might be at Costco's or BJ's.
I go when everybody else ain't there. I might go to the Super Walmart across the bridge. I ain't messing with this crowd, because you know, we buy up everything. Eggs, ain't no eggs and milk. Yeah. If your power go out, what you gonna do with eggs and milk?
Right, exactly. It's gonna go bad.
Y'all gotta think.
It's gonna go bad.
Y'all gotta think that y'all listen to the news and just go crazy.
If you're real smart, you just get you plenty of fruit,
bottled water, some fruit, something you can eat.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna last you a week without going bad.
Yeah,
without no power.
And you can eat some bread too. You eat some bread.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Bread, peanut butter jelly.
Well, you know, the jelly got to be careful with too. That sit out after a period of time.
You can sit jelly out.
For how long?
I mean, especially
after you done put the knife up back in it.
Especially preserved, like regular, you know.
I hear you. I wouldn't.
Organic, authentic. Preserved them. Stuff sit on the shelf. Preserved shit on the shelf.
Give me
sit on the shelf.
Apple, bananas, you know, my berries, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know you good. So. Shout out to my main man Sterling for just came back in. Hey, Sterling, where you been, man? We was real heavy with this today, man. We wanted you tuned in today, but hey, you can tune in. You can look back on our Facebook live stream or check out our YouTube page. Like I said earlier, just put in the search bar the GoWIN Radio Show, and you can watch this later on. Or it'll also be on the podcast right up on the website on www.gowin.media. I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Any other?
Oh yeah, and like what you said, the junkyard story was nice.
So where they told it? Yeah.
Ray Mo told that, and it was like, we on buckets and cans. Mo was like, we was tanning that ass. Yeah. The old heads was looking at them like, oh, these youngins is on buckets and cans. He was like, but we was tanning that ass.
They should have told the story. And we talk about this. Matter of fact, when we had Winko, T-Bob, and Blue came through.
Yeah. And Wink don't be talking.
Yeah. But when we told the story when they used to give it to Essence up the Black Hole.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, you know, them young brothers right there, they changed the game for sure. So, let me see anybody else I want to shout out here. Thanks once again to Big Lou for your contributions to the show. Janny Cook, definitely shout out to you. And Lisa the World, yes, you should have been in there, Queen. Yes, you should have been in there. A lot of people should have been in there.
Who was Lisa? The Gangster Chronicles?
That's right. That part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That part of it, and that was just as much of a part of Go than anything else.
Yeah.
I've always said this, and I said this when we had the thing at for DC, the little thing that we did for DC public schools or public library, is that it's three parts of Go. You got the percussion part. You got the fans or the crowd, and you got the lead talker to tie the percussion to the fans.
Right.
And that's what make the go-go be what it is. So definitely, Lisa, you are part of the fabric more so than a lot of other people, and that's no shame on nobody else, but do your history. That sister right there, she's put in her work, you know. So we appreciate you all for tuning in once again. And if we don't make it in on Thursday, we'll let you know. We'll let you know, depending on the weather situation, like Miss Lady said. I would like to shout out to the whole team of 202 Creates for reaching out to us and showing us love, taking very good care of GoWIN Radio Show. They took very good care of me, Miss Lady. And Killer Cow's gonna get VIP anyway, so yeah, he's gonna get that regardless. But they took very good care of us. We appreciate all of the team, Monique, and her whole staff. But what we do invite all of y'all to do is when this will be shown on DC Cable in October. So we invite all of y'all to make sure y'all check it out and give your opinion. If you were not there, give your opinion and let us know what you thought of it. All right. So we get ready to get out of here. And I don't have no last. Also, don't forget about the Iverson concert series. If the weather is bad, we will be letting everybody know Thursday morning if we're going to cancel it. We had Curtis Johnson and Eternity Band scheduled for that. But obviously with this hurricane coming up, it might not be happening. But the following week, we do have Subtle. So be watching out for that as well. Yes. Yeah, and they have a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to something to prove, and they're going to be doing something for our free concert series. All right. So thank you once again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I love you all. Shout out to my man once more again. Heartbeat. I'm looking forward to talking to you, brother. A lot of y'all think we have some animosity between each other. I do not. I love him like a brother. I'm looking forward to talking to him real soon. Hopefully, we got some big things coming up with each other. So we talk to y'all soon. We're gonna close out like we always do with the one and only Miss Lady. Meatball. I need that. No homo.
For her, and I ain't seen her all night.
We are kid, hold it down, five.
Live, that is.
This is Stormy Saturday. Stormy Saturday. Yeah. This rainy Saturday.
Good seeing you.
Also, Miss Tracy. Special request. Pick out your afro, put on your high heel shoes, put on your